How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the lock-in. First ever lock-in live from a location other than my sitting room, my living room, my bedroom. We're live from IrishMalts headquarters in Cork. I got John O'Donovan here, founder of IrishMalts, beside me. How are you, John?
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody in America. Hi, everybody in Ireland. Thanks for staying up to join us. Hope you enjoyed the Late Late Toy Show. Thanks for the Late Late Whisky Show.
It is. We're live in the middle of a warehouse. We've got Roy Buckley, musician extraordinaire, here beside me as well. So we got a great night ahead of us. We've got 5 amazing guests in total. 2 of them are here. 3 more will be joining us on the video virtually shortly. We're going to be here for the next. We've a lot to squeeze into the next 6, 7, 8 hours. I'd say, John. I don't know how we'll squeeze it all in.
I've gone from co-host to guest. Excuse me.
No, you're the co-host. I'll be stepping away now in a minute. You'll be running it. Welcome, everybody. I'd love to know where you are, where you're joining us from. Tell us in the comments what you're drinking, where you're located, what the crack is. If you're joining us from Ireland, if you're joining us from the UK, the US, love to hear from you. So good evening, everybody. We've got Colorado Springs in the house. We've got España, Dahi there in the house as well. Great stuff.
Fellow glamour man.
That's it. He knows you well.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is we're going to kick off with a tune. We're really, really lucky to have Roy Buckley here tonight joining us. Thanks to IrishMalts for bringing Roy Buckley here. An amazing Cork balladeer, and I shared some videos. Yeah, you're great, John. Like, you're unreal. And I look forward to the 2 of you singing here now. And Roy has got some incredible tunes, incredible singer-songwriter. We're going to hear some of those tunes tonight. If you've got requests from Roy over the next 8, 9, 10, 12 hours, let him know, and he'd love to play them. He's not going anywhere. We took all the air out of the tires in his car, so he can't leave. So he's going to stay here. Roy, why don't you maybe kick us off? We'll have a little bit of a chat in a bit then, but maybe give us an old tune to kick off the lock-in.
What do we do?
Your call.
What do we do?
You want to do a little bit of whiskey in the jar to kick us off? Right, here we go.
Hey, get in here, John. You're not escaping this.
Well, you get in closer to the microphone there.
Chorus,
right,
I'm leaving.
This is going to be a mess.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you can't really be on a whiskey show and not sing a whiskey song in fairness. And Cork is mentioned in this song, which is also a great plus song.
Here we go.
As I was going over the far-famed Kerry Mountains, met with Captain Farrell and his money was counted. First produced my pistol, I then produced me rapier. Stand and deliver, for you are the boldest seaman for sure. Black fell the daddy-o, there's a whiskey in the jar. He counted out his money, made a pretty penny, put it in me pocket and I took it home to Jenny. She smiled and she swore she never would deceive me. The devil take the villain, he never can be easy. Sharing the daddy-o, the whiskey in the jar. You only see ourselves twice. Hey, I went to my chamber, where to take a slumber. Dreamt of the golden jewels, and for sure it was no wonder. Jenny drew me charges, she filled them all with water. Sent for Captain Farrell to be ready for the slaughter. I daddy-o, the whiskey in the jar. It was early in the morning, before I rose to travel, up came a band of footmen, likewise Captain Farrell. First produced my pistol, she'd stolen away me rapier. Couldn't shoot the water, so a prisoner I was taken. Sure, whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, whiskey in the jar. They put me into jail, without no judge or right, for having Captain Farrell on the Cork and Kerry Mountain. He wouldn't take me fist, so I knocked the sentry down. I headed far away from the jail in Limerick town. Back fall the daddy-o, back fall the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. And if anyone can aid me, big brother in the army, if I could find a station in Cork or in Killarney, if he'll go with me, we'll go roaming in Kilkenny. I swear he'll trick me better than me side to see even Jenny. Surely never do never die. Back for the daddy-o, hey, back for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. And some take delight in the carriages are rolling, others take delight in the hurling and the bowling. I take delight in the juice of the barley, and courting pretty fair makes it the morning bright and early. Surely never do that. Back for daddy-o, back for daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Surely never do that. Back for daddy-o, back for daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Welcome everybody.
All right.
Hey, good night.
Hey, you did great. We'll see you next year. That's brilliant.
Merry Christmas. Good night.
Roy Buckley, everybody. Check out Roy, facebook.com/Roy Buckley Music. There's some incredible footage there of Roy playing and also playing with such great musicians like Phil Coulter. Roy's going to play a tune later on for us that he collaborated with Phil Coulter on one of his original songs. And so if you have any requests, let us know in the comments. We have a busy night ahead of us. There's whiskey behind us. You might be able to see it if we stand out of the way a little bit. There's a lot of whiskey here, and we're going to get. It's very dangerous, yeah. Very flammable room. Polar bears, yeah, casks. We got all kinds of things behind us. We're in IrishMalts headquarters, the secret location in Cork. It is freezing. It's absolutely freezing in here.
Come on, it's not that cold.
John's not doing enough sales to pay for heaters yet, so please purchase some IrishMalts and we'll heat this place. That's why we're in coats and scarves. There might be hats yet and more socks. But what we're going to do later is we're going to do a little tour around the warehouse. If there are things on the shelves behind us that you want to know more about, whiskies, casks, we're going to share some maybe special releases that are coming out. We'll share some of those on the screen as well and talk a little bit about them. But we'll grab things from the shelf over the course of the night. But I wanted to come down here and do this for the first ever on location broadcast for the lock-in with John, because I remember when John started IrishMalts, I had just started doing my podcast.
Yeah.
And it was around the same time we kicked off, wasn't it?
Yeah, we literally had a phone call, and it was 4 years ago now. And how long are you going?
2016, 17.
Yes, you were a year in.
Okay.
You were a year in. So we had a great phone call. We had a great chat. I still remember I was walking around my bedroom in my family, back in my family home, and I'd say we were on the phone for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was great.
Great chat. Yeah. 2 Cork lads.
2 Cork lads, 3 Cork lads tonight.
That's it.
And there's over 500,000 of us in the world.
That's right. We're going to talk a lot about Cork tonight. 3 Cork men on screen. We will be invaded by Mayo shortly, whether we like it or not. I see some guests there about Mayo Bowrons now in the background and everything. Noel Sweeney's got his Bowron ready to go. Kieran Folliard, we're going to bring them on now in a second. Everyone is welcome tonight to the lock-in. We're streaming live to 3 locations at the moment. We're live on Stories and Sips Facebook page. We're live in the Irish Whiskey Fans of America Facebook group, and we're live on Stories and Sips on YouTube. Wherever you are, raise a glass to each other, to our health, to our families. Share this stream to your own Facebook page, on Twitter or on YouTube. Invite a friend to join us tonight. The more to join in the lock-in, the better. We've lots of great crack ahead of us tonight. So look, it's been about a month or maybe 6 weeks since we've had a lock-in. We'll do one of these every month. But there's nothing to beat the crack of everyone coming together with a glass of whiskey in our hands. So we've loads of whiskey behind us. Again, we'll be grabbing some of this tonight. I see lots of you have great whiskies in your hands already. Steve Smathers in Colorado, starting with the Liberator Port and Pete. That's a great one. Jeff Timmy in Indiana, he's got some JJ Corrie Gold Rush. That's an exclusive there to Folsom Wine and Spirits in California. Redbreast 12 in Nevada with William Grass. Great stuff. Brilliant. What else have we got here? Top form, Roy Buckley, says Michael Gannon.
Great.
Brilliant, Roy, says Marika. Love your voice, says Chris. Greetings from Portage, Michigan. Drinking Redbreast PX. Good man, Chris.
Where'd you get a bottle of that?
Yeah.
Who do you know?
Send some back here. Tanya Connolly says, whoop, Roy, well done.
There's some of my regulars coming in.
Oh, we got your crew here. Hey.
This is my second lock-in in 2 nights, lads.
Hey. That's the Irish way. That's the Irish way. All right. So we're going to go back to Roy in a minute, but before we do that, I want to bring in our first 2 special guests that are joining us virtually. Like, you're not special at all. Like, you're just I don't know. You're the co-host. We're going to bring in guests.
Just turn up and get abused, John.
That's it.
We're co-hosts.
That's it. Oh, there's Daniel Pennington. How are you, Daniel, with your black barrel proof? Good man. All right. So without further ado, why don't we bring in Kieran and Noel? Kieran and Noel, there they are. Oh, look, Mayo. You can't be flying Mayo flags. What's this all about? You get no support from us.
Up Mayo.
Up Mayo. Go out of that. I suppose they need all the support they can get. Yeah, you might as well fly banners or flags or something.
I tell you there now, Roy, you're now my favourite Cork man, so you are.
Oh, brilliant. Right. Kieran's barred. We're kicking Kieran off.
After you've leapfrogged over Roy Keane. But I tell you what, you could go 100 yards further than him now if you'd sing the red and green of Mayo for myself and Noel.
Oh, the green and red of Mayo.
He'd choke on that. It's the banks of my own lovely Lee. He'd be singing, not that.
I'll be evicted if I sing that. I'll be killed.
He's in Cork now. He's on home turf here. He can't be singing Mayo. Gentlemen, thanks a million for joining us for our first ever on location lock-in at IrishMalts, and I'm really thrilled to talk to you both. Kieran, to introduce you to our audience, and you're no stranger to our audience. We had a lovely chat in the podcast probably about 18 months ago at this stage, maybe 2 years ago, talking about your adventures from owning the bar that served more Jameson than anywhere else on planet Earth a few years in a row, to starting your own whiskey brand, Two Gingers, and now onto the next adventure with Master Distiller Whisky Magazine Hall of Famer Noel Sweeney, no stranger to our Irish whiskey audience. Noel, 27 years at Cooley Distillery. I'd say there isn't a distiller in Ireland that has more brands under his name than Noel Sweeney, I'd say, that has distilled more whiskies than Noel. Incredible to have you both here together, and the fact that you're here together for a joint venture is an incredible thing. Which of you is going to start me off and tell me about this new venture you have? Not Noel.
Well, we are both from County Mayo, so
mind that.
Noel never permanently left the shores of Ireland, but I left them 34 years ago. I'm from Ballyhonus, and Noel is just down the street from us in Ballahadreen, in East Mayo. He's very close. He's part of Balladreen is in Roscommon, but I think Mayo have done better in football, even if we haven't won in All Ireland since 1951.
Never stops.
And I got to meet Noel. He's a few years younger than myself, so we didn't know each other growing up. And we met actually 2010 through the Cooley Distillery when I was over there with John Teeling and with Noel, talking about coming out for what I had at the time 4 Irish pubs here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. And the original idea behind Two Gingers was to just really have our own blend for the pubs. And so Noel helped create that for us, that blend. And I was really, obviously, the relationship continued. And so then just about maybe a year ago, or a little bit more than a year ago, I decided to maybe think about having another Irish blended whiskey, but something that was unique, quite different from what Two Gingers was, just different, I would say, maybe a bit more complex, etc. And so that discussion started with Noel, and I said, well, what about getting on board, and that we'd form he'd become part of the business and the brand, and we'd have a partnership and launch it. And we did that. And so then Noel's expertise came into play, and he's no better man in the world to talk about creating a blended Irish whiskey than Noel. And we just launched here in Minnesota exclusively for the next, maybe I don't know who's to know, but probably the next 6 to 12 months we'll stay in Minnesota, just learn not so much about the liquid itself, that's fantastic, but really more about the brand itself, and working with our customer base out there. So that's where we're at.
No, Noel, there are very few distillers in Ireland with your experience and just the breadth of whiskies you've worked on, the range of whiskies, and the number of whiskies that you've released, I'm imagining the phone rings a lot, emails come in a lot asking for collaborations, advice, help. You can't help everybody. Was it purely the fact that Kieran's from Mayo, or was there a better reason for you to actually work with him?
Just being from Mayo is just something we have between us, I suppose. And from the west of Ireland, we kind of do tend to cling together a little bit. We've a little click going now. But seriously, I met Kieran, as he mentioned there, in 2010 when he came to Cooley Distillery, and he was looking for a blend. And we put together the two gingers at that stage, and it had great success in America. And Kieran has been a good friend since then. We've met several times in over many years. And when Beam took over Cooley Distillery, Kieran's blend was promoted quite widely in the United States, and it was quite successful. But again, nothing ever lasts forever, I suppose. And Kieran's time with Beam came to an end last year, and he was looking for some other project to get involved in. And we had always kept in touch. I mean, anytime Kieran was in Ireland, we met and we had great time for each other. And he came up with this idea of bringing out another blend for himself, and he wanted to have a specific kind of style and taste, which I was delighted to be able to help him with. And we came up with a blend that I think has resulted in the current Red Locks. And so far, so good. It's getting great reviews from the people over in Minnesota. And we're looking forward to expanding it outside of Minnesota and in time having it here in Ireland in the not too distant future, and try another few continents, Kieran, huh?
Kieran, tell us about the name then, Red Locks, and why you think there's a market for another blended Irish whiskey. Sure, don't we have enough of those on the shelves behind us? Is there a space for another one?
Always space for another one.
Always space, is there?
Well, when we launched Two Gingers originally in 2011, there were 4 distilleries in Ireland: Middleton, of course, Bushmills, Cooley, and Kilbeggan. And obviously, Kilbeggan and Cooley were part of the same company, John Teeling's company, prior to selling to Beam. And I'll have to say that when you look at it today, it's, what are there? There are 41, 42 distilleries in Ireland in 10 years. I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, and I would have to say on a personal level, I'm just over the moon with the number of distilleries that are there, not alone for the employment opportunities within the distilleries, from the farm, which is very close to my heart, the farm community. And it's a lot of the work that I do here in Minnesota we've got a food business here as well, manufacturing. And I look at then the export market, and then you look at the volume of tourism potential, when, obviously when we sort out COVID eventually, obviously not a very good day on the COVID front today, but news-wise, but eventually, of course, it'll get resolved, I assume. And to look at that and think about the exports out of Ireland and then the imports in terms of tourism to Ireland, it's fantastic for the country. I mean, I'm over the moon with it. And so then thinking about the relationships that I had developed over all of the years, Noel being a core relationship, and then some of our young ambassadors that I'm working with here. We've got Alex Capper, and Alex is from Derry, and she's our brand director based here in Minnesota. We've got Jerry Diver. Derry is from Donegal, and he's one of our ambassadors here. And also then we've got Kathy O'Connor, who has a long history in the pub business, her family of pubs in Dublin, and she's here with us as well on the ambassador side. And Jerry's family, he grew up in the business as well. His family have a hotel in Rossnowla in Donegal. And so I think about those, and at my age now, I'm really much more interested in how do I stay connected to young people and smart people like Noel and talented people. And so, for the next continued leg of the journey. And so it's really, really more about, honestly, the journey and things that I enjoy doing and keeping it going.
Kieran, with all of those Irish people now working for you and for Redlocks over there in Minnesota, Brian Nation bringing Irish people over to Minnesota, is there a fear that there won't be any Irish people left to work in the Irish whiskey industry in Ireland because they're all too busy over in Minnesota?
Well, interestingly enough, in the census in the US in 1902, Irish was the largest population by heritage in Minnesota. Now, that has fallen off a little bit. The Germans took over and then the Scandinavian cousins. So I think today we're about only the third largest population here in Minnesota by heritage. And so I think if you saw me now, I've got a T-shirt on here, but I'm inside in the house and I've got the temperature at about 70 degrees. But outside, it's about 27 degrees, I think. Whatever that is in the Celsius, but it's cold. That'll keep a fair few Irish people away from here. It's only the brave that can come here.
Sure, you're used to tough times, you Mayo men. You're used to that.
True enough.
That's right. That's right. Noel, tell us about the blend and the makeup of the spirit, and kind of what your thoughts were going into this, and what you thought would best represent kind of Kieran's vision as well for the whiskey.
Well, I guess first of all, Kieran came to me and he says, "Do you know what, Noel?" He says that the what's going really well over here in America was bourbon, and bourbon was on fire. And he says Irish whiskey, of course, as well. And I thought to myself, I says, well, perhaps we should come with something that has a little bit of both worlds in it. And so that idea we developed into what kind of whiskies would bring that across in a blend. So obviously a lot of Irish whiskey is matured in bourbon casks. So we felt bourbon barrels were obviously important, but not a lot of them are matured in virgin oak, which of course bourbon has to be produced in bourbon oak. But a lot of Irish distilleries don't use virgin oak. So we looked at some grain whiskey that was matured in virgin oak, and it does bring that kind of strong character of vanilla and oak into the whiskey that's just typical of bourbon. So we thought that would be a good start for the bourbon element, and of course then to bring an Irish element to that and to marry them together. So of course Irish whiskey would be kind of noted for its mellowness and subtlety of flavor. So again, our malt whiskey would bring that to the table. And on top of that, then, I mean, a lot of Irish whiskies, some of the more refined Irish whiskies would have been matured in sherry. And sherry brings that kind of exotic flavor to whiskey. So some of our malt has been matured in sherry to give it that kind of Christmassy cake flavor. And then you have the heavy bourbon flavor coming along with that. And that was the inspiration for the whiskey that we've produced here. So the blend is made up of a mixture, and to balance them is really the art of blending. So you look at all these flavors and try to get them so that you can appreciate all of the flavors without one overtaking the other. And I think that's what we've tried to achieve with Redlocks. So we are looking at trying to be all things to all men in some respects, having two favorite kind of flavors at the moment that's doing very, very well in the American market in particular, and that's where we have aimed to launch Redlocks. So it's got that typical kind of bourbon-esque style, coupled with the Irish background as well, and I think that's the focus of this whiskey in particular, and it seems to be working quite well.
Are the blended ratios a trade secret, or do you talk about those?
Oh, those have to be trade secrets. I mean, we can't.
I gave you an out there. I gave you an avenue to go off there. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the whiskey bottled at then, Noel? ABV?
Well, it's 40%
40%.
alcohol or 80 proof in the States.
Yep.
That's what Redlocks is bottled at the moment.
Kieran, what will you do differently with Redlocks compared to Two Gingers? What did you learn that you'd like to apply now that you have this brand? Do you have maybe perhaps a little bit more control now that you're back owning your own brand again? Is there learnings you took away from the last one?
There certainly are learnings I would say in the sense that I tried to get to the core really more of the brand itself. And there's a poem by Seamus Heaney, God rest him, one of Ireland's great poets and our last, I believe, Nobel Prize winner of literature. And actually, Alexandra, she went to the same school as Seamus Heaney many years later. But Digging is a poem that he wrote. And it has been an inspiration to me for probably 30 years now at this stage. He wrote it in the mid-60s. And one of the things that he talks about is the whole idea of really following your passion in life, about the idea of finding your core, the living roots awaken in my head, and also of what's your squat pen. Because he looked out at his father and his grandfather in the field, and he said he would never have a shovel to, follow those men. He would have to do his digging with the squat pen between his finger and his thumb. And I always related to that in the sense of trying to understand what was important. I don't know that I got the opportunity really to, and more on myself than anything else, to really follow the core of an idea for a brand. And so what I would really like to do with Redlocks, and it's really about encouraging people I want to build a brand that encourages people to act on their ideas and dreams. And some of those might be to learn to play the guitar. Maybe not as good as Roy, but just learn to play the guitar.
I should learn myself.
To write a song, like Christy Moore said, to climb a mountain, jump in a lake. It might be to start a business. It might be to, start a non-profit or something. But what is that idea that you can follow in life? And I found so much negativity in general out there and people putting people down and their ideas. And I want to create this brand that it really is about, well, it's giving it a shot, which is obviously a play on the whiskey world, but it is about what is the ripple effect. You can see the ripple effect there around Ireland. What has Ireland's contribution been around the world? So what is your contribution? What you take, giving it a shot about your idea, your dream. And so then that expands out. And there is a ripple effect. Maybe it's just to yourself, your family, your colleagues, your work, your community, the world. And for me at this stage, at my age, on the last leg of the journey, hopefully it lasts for another while, knock on wood, that the brand can really stand for something, because the whiskey itself and the blend that Noel has created can absolutely stand on its own 2 feet. That I'm completely confident about, and I've gotten great feedback from the community. Now, can we build a brand that then, on top of that, actually stands for something and can have a positive influence out there as well? The whiskey is one thing, fantastic, and then can the brand itself bring some good things to our community?
It's probably something you won't mention yourselves, but it bears mentioning the ripples you both have had yourselves and the impact you've had on the Irish community, both at home and overseas. I mean, Kieran, you've done an incredible job of building incredible businesses that have employed hundreds and thousands of people over the years, and have always, from the first time we spoke, you've just been this unbelievable flag flyer for Ireland, Mayo, unfortunately, as well, but Ireland mostly. And it's a remarkable thing to see you kind of passing that back and saying, well, I'd like to kind of inspire others to do the same. And Noel, there's, like I said, there's no master distiller that has had his hand in more Irish whiskies than yourself. And so there's huge ripples coming out from both of you. And I think that just bears mentioning, because I know you're not going to mention it yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you've said a lot there about how Irish whiskey and the Irish spirit, for the want of a better word, has permeated around the globe. And with the help of people like Kieran, who've travelled far around the globe, and brought with them what we consider to be the best out of Ireland in culture and the ways and personalities and all the rest of it. And we're always up for a bit of fun, always up for a bit of crack, but there's always the serious bit as well, not to be forgotten about, you know. And many of the people that travelled far and wide around the globe have always had that connection back home to Ireland, and it's great to see that, and I admire that. My own family has had 3 of my uncles are living in America, and made their lives over there, but they always have the connections back to home. If it's football or whatever it might be, it's very important to everybody, and I think that's very, very important, and it's great to see that echoed in the Red Locks label, and I suppose the aspirations for Kieran, and how that might continue on throughout, well, hopefully Minnesota and the rest of the states, and far afield.
Absolutely. Great to see it. Really great to see both of you could step back, I'd say, at any time and say, look, we've done enough. We've had a good old run. It's time for a bit of relaxing. But no, instead you're saying, let's roll the dice again, and we have another idea. And I love to see it. It's inspiring. It gets me excited. Kieran, so you mentioned Minnesota is where the whiskey is available now. Is it within Minnesota is where it's going to be only for the first rollout?
Yeah, I think we'll stick with it certainly through next summer here in Minnesota, because for me, what the brand stands for, what it's true, the core idea and the meaning and how it resonates with people. I want to learn with the team, with Alex and the rest of the crew, really what resonates with people and what's important to them, and what can bring value out there. Because I believe, like I said a minute ago, that the liquid stands on its own 2 feet, and it's fantastic. But the brand, I believe, has an opportunity to really bring some positivity out there into our culture and our world. And that for me is about really talking to people. That's what I did for, the last 30 years, really, with the pub business, etc. You talk to the customers that come in, you talk to your supporters, you talk to them, how does it change or impact their lives? And if you can continue to do that, then it's actually worth something. There's value in that, I believe.
There's a man here who might stock the whiskey on his shelves if it ever makes it to Ireland. IrishMalts warehouse here has a space or two, so does it?
Yeah, we certainly do. Where we're at.
Well, we'd be delighted to, because I should tell you, and it's a bit of a challenge now for me, because it's a very Cork-centered connection. But my brother-in-law, unfortunately, my sister passed away 5 years ago this coming January. She had ovarian cancer, and we were very close. She was my only sibling. But her husband, John Barrett, he is from Cork.
Hey.
And he is from, I don't know which, is he North or South Cork? But I think he's on the Blackrock side. Is that North Cork or South Cork?
South, technically, yeah.
South, okay, he's from that side. But now then, his daughter, my niece, Evelyn, she is, but they live in Dublin now. My brother-in-law, John, was a professor at DCU. He's retired now. And his daughter, Evelyn, who was a CPA, she worked with me here in America. But when her mom, my sister, got ill, she did go back home. And she married a fella from North Cork.
That's all right, too.
And Shane is a fine man. They live in, well, they're actually in Kildare. She works for Glanbia. And so now I've got a brother-in-law and my niece's husband, both from Cork. And his grandfather was from Mayo, though, and just passed away. And God, he was like 98 and just passed away a month ago or two. And so we do have a good Cork connection. So we'll have people that will go in and buy it there if we can get it on the shelf. I'll round them all up.
Kieran, just for the record, I'll stock a few on my shelves as well if you want.
What's the price point on the bottle, Kieran, on the whiskey?
Well, now we should be price point a little bit higher than we are, but our 750s are price point in line with the industry, Irish industry elephant from Cork at about $25 for a 750. It should be a little bit higher for sure, but our goal long term is to have a family of Irish whiskies within the red locks. So we do have registered copper locks. We see that in the future as being a pot still, and additional expressions of Irish whiskey under the locks part. So there'll be a grey locks potentially, etc. Might be a peated Irish whiskey, and so. But that's all in the future.
So if people want to find out more information, they can go to redlocks.com. I know that our thirsty audience never let state lines prevent them from getting hold of the whiskey that they want. So lots of Al Capones in our audience there who'll find ways to get the whiskey. So redlocks.com in Minnesota, very keenly priced. I'm excited to try it. When I'm back in the States next week, I might give Alex a call and arrange for a wee sample so that I can get hold of it. And bring it back to Cork and maybe take a photo of it in front of maybe Blackrock Castle for you or something, if that's helpful.
Well, now you don't need to go to Blarney Castle, that's for sure, with you Cork fellas.
No, there'll be overkill. Well, listen, I really appreciate you both joining, Noel and Kieran. Excited for your collaboration. I'm very appreciative of you taking the time to share it with us. I know, Noel, it's late in Ireland, so thanks for joining us this late at night. And maybe you can come back and talk to us when you bring out the second expression, or keep us posted on availability as well outside of Minnesota. And we have a thirsty audience that'll help spread the word.
Well, Barry, thank you very much. And obviously, I wish you, I just signed up for it today for your whiskey club. And honestly, I think it's brilliant, and we will do everything in our power to promote it across all of our supporters as well, because just the whole idea behind it, and the monthly expressions, and obviously the lock-ins, but the club itself. I mean, you're doing Trojan work to promote Ireland, Irish whiskey, and the knock-on effect of that, the ripple effect of all of that. So we'll promote you, and thanks for the opportunity to come on and chat with you this evening. And Roy, are you going to sing?
Go on, he'll sing you out.
Red and green and mayo, for God's sake, man! Come on.
He's not.
No, I can't.
He won't get paid.
I'll send you a $5 and a bottle of Red Lights if you do it.
My thoughts in a fancy take flight.
Sing that one.
What about me?
Leafy shade on the banks of my own lovely.
Fair play, Kieran. Fair play, Noel. Thanks a million for joining us. Go out of that.
Mayo, wherever you go. Thanks, lads.
Thanks a million. See you later.
Noel.
Thanks, Noel. Thanks, Kieran. Brilliant. That's great. Mayo's all getting the digs in. Cork gets the digs back, though. All right. So, another tune, I suppose.
Yeah.
Thanks to Noel and thanks to Kieran for joining us. Check out redlocks.com and we'll hear more about that over the coming months and year, I'm sure. I'm excited to try it. But we're going to talk about Irish Malts in a second. But we're going to go back to Roy first. Roy, there's a great story you told me before we went live about cider.
Oh, cider.
and it's connected to whiskey. But you told me a great story. I think the audience should hear this story and then hear the song.
Are you talking about the Johnny Jump
I am.
story?
I am.
Yeah. Well, I got it from a friend of mine, Jimmy Lee. Johnny Jump Up being the nickname for cider, as we would know, down here in Cork anyway. But the reason for it, you see, years and years ago when Ireland got its independence from Britain, the slogan of the time was burn everything except their coal. So we did. And then when everything was burned, they realised that they were after burning the barrels where they stored the cider in, so they had nothing to store the cider in. So they sent up to the north of Ireland to get the whiskey casks down. But what happened was the whiskey that had seeped into the wood seep back out into the wood, into the cider that where it was now being stored, which made it rocket fuel. So fellas were jumping up and getting in all sorts of fights and everything. So that was it. There was a song written about called Johnny Jump Up, where it's a good Cork song actually, because it takes in Youghal, the seaside village that we're on.
Aiden, cider and Youghal. That's it, Aiden, you're right.
So Youghal, being the great seaside town, is where the story takes place. And there's a great chorus, ladies and gents, watching in from around the world. Don't forget and tell us where you're watching from. Is it?
Yeah, tell us where you are. John's after disappearing off the screen. Look, he doesn't want to sing at all.
And John and Barry are going to sing it with me.
Hey!
I'll tell you a story that happened to me. One day as I went down to Youghal by the sea, sun being bright, the day being warm, says I a quiet pint wouldn't do me no harm. I went in and I called for a bottle of stout. Says the barman, I'm sorry, all the beer is sold out. Try a whiskey or paddy, 10 years in the wood. Says I'll try cider, I heard that it's good. I'll never, oh never, I'll never again. If I live to 100 or 110, I fell to the ground, I couldn't get up. After drinking a quart of the Johnny Jump Up. Diddly item, diddly item, diddly item. After lowering the curd, I made straight for the yard. I bumped into Brophy, the big civic guard. Come here to me, boy, don't you know I'm the law? I up with me fist and I shattered his jaw. He fell to the ground with his knees doubled up. 'Twasn't I hit him, 'twas the Johnny Jump Up. The next thing I met down in Youghal by the sea was a cripple on crutches, says he to me. I'm afraid of me life, I'll be hit by a car. Would you help me across to the railing man's bar? After lowering the quart, and that side was so sweet, he threw down his crutches and he danced on his feet. I'll never, oh never, I'll never again. If I live to 100 or 100, I fell to the ground, and I couldn't get up. After drinking a quart of the Johnny Jump Up. Diddly item, diddly item, diddly item. I went up the Lee Road, a friend for to see. They call it the madhouse in Cork by the Lee. And when I got up there, the truth I to tell, they had Barry Chandler locked up in a cell. Says the guard testing him, say these words if you can. Around the rugged rocks, the ragged rascal ran. Tell him I'm not crazy, tell him I'm not mad. It was only a song for the cider I had. I'll never, oh never, I'll never again. If I live to 100 or 110, I fell to the ground, I couldn't get up. After drinking a quart of the Johnny Jump Up. Diddly item, diddly item, diddly item. A man died in Cork Union by the name of McNabb. They washed him and they laid him outside on a slab. And after O'Connor his measurements to take, his wife took him home to a bloody fine wage. 'Twas about 12 o'clock, the beer it was high, and the corpse he sat up, he says he with a sigh. I can't get to heaven, they won't lead me up, till I bring them a barrel of the Johnny. I'll never, oh never, I'll never again. If I live to 100 or 110, I fell to the ground, I couldn't get up. I've been drinking a quart of the Johnny Jump Up. I'll never, oh never, I'll never again. If I live to 100 or 110, I fell to the ground and I couldn't get up. I've been drinking a quart of the Johnny Jump Up. Diddly item, diddly item, diddly item.
Woo! Roy Buckley. Yes, beautiful. Up, y'all. Hey.
Love it.
Uncle.
No, that's a good old Cork song for you, Barry.
A belter, says Jason Murphy. Class, says Daniel Pennington.
Oh, great.
Hey. Great stuff all together. Brilliant.
Kind of wish I didn't have the car with me, I have to say.
Just the water. What did I hear it was called the other night? Ishka Ganbaha.
My grandfather used to say water is a grand drink when it's mixed with the right spirit.
That's it. Roy is going to stay with us for the next 84 hours. He's got it's a marathon session. He's not going home. If you have any requests,
I'm not allowed to go home.
he's not allowed. No, we took the air out of the tires of his car, so he can't drive home. Stacey says this lock-in is the one bright spot in an evening with her in-laws. Great stuff. Good stuff.
no.
Good stuff. Lots of cheers there. Rich says we need to go on tour.
Lots of cheers. Huh?
Yeah, loads of cheers. Look at all the claps there.
Oh,
Look at
I love
that. Look at that. Brilliant. The
It's
reason
always better to give the clap to get the clap, lads.
Jeez. That's right. That's right.
Barry told me that earlier.
I did, yeah. I did. I'm wearing a coat in here because it's freezing. I don't know how you're managing in a t-shirt. Short sleeve shirt. We're in a warehouse in Cork at a secret location. This is the headquarters of Irish Malts, and John O'Donovan, co-founder, together with his brother of Irish Malts, together with Robert. We're here in the warehouse, first time ever a live session, presumably from this location.
That is for sure.
Whatever questions you have about Irish Malts, let us know. There's a few came in already, and let me see. There was one here about from Steve asking about when you're going to restock the new Bushmill single malt bottles. Are they still in stock?
Yeah. Just so if anybody, if people may or may not know, we run two different sites under IrishMalts.com, and next year we're most probably going to differentiate them a little bit by calling one of them IrishMalts.co.uk. So the stock range we keep here in Ireland gets shipped to the Irish customers and customers in the EU, and the stock that we keep in the UK gets shipped to the people in the UK and the US. So I'm going to presume you're looking at the UK store, which doesn't have those bottles yet, but will in the very near future. In the next couple of weeks, our UK store will have the new Bushmills bottles. So that should answer that question. We're going to make that a bit more clear next year and put a bit more effort into the UK-US store. Brexit has really, really hurt us in running that store. So that should answer your question, but thanks.
John, I have a question here.
Yeah.
What's the password for the Speakeasy Club next door?
Yeah,
Irish Malts.
there's a very
one.
a very suspicious comment is after coming in from Mary in Minnesota. Can you have Roy play the red and green of Mayo? It wouldn't at all be Kieran in the background, like still trying to beat that dead horse. Like there'd be no Mayo songs. What about Will you meet me in Clare Island? Still a Mayo song. Like.
You have to sing that.
No, I won't. No. Would you settle for Clare Island, Kieran? Would you? There was another question here about Irish Malts. Connor Winders, Irish Malts is hands down the best online retailer of Irish whiskey around. Service is unrivaled.
Thank you, Connor.
Connor's check is in the mail there.
Connor's been a great supporter and customer, so Connor,
Irish
thank you
Whiskey
very
app.
much. Connor has set up the Irish Whiskey app. If you haven't downloaded it, download it. It is the best. It's by far the best app out there when it comes to Irish whiskey. One of the coolest things there is you can use a bottle scanner. So if you got a bottle, you scan it with your phone, and it's that good that it will pick up the bottle and you get all the information on it. So we're big fans of the Irish Whiskey app here.
If you're hearing rattling on this end, it's there's 1,000 people cheering for us. No, there's
guys.
There's a massive door here that's blowing in the wind. It's blowing a gale in Cork. The wind is unreal tonight in Cork.
Yeah.
And so you might hear some rattling. If you see things caving in around us, that's the time to panic. But
it's either that or this place is haunted.
One or the others. Daniel wants us to grab something off the shelf to crack open. Any particular request there, Daniel? Method and Madness 28, maybe?
What about if we start at the top left and then walk away across?
John, what do you want us to know about Irish Malts? Big question.
What I suppose that we exist. We're still, even though we've been here working in the background for the last 3.5 years, I was just talking to Robert today, and we very much feel like a startup business to this very second. We're still expanding. We've taken on a number of new staff lately. So that's been very rewarding, and they've been fantastic. We had a tough week this week, a lot going on. We're bringing the best ever Green Friday sales to the Irish whiskey category. A lot of the retailers in the past haven't gone down that road, but we see ourselves as an e-commerce business, so it should be part of our fabric. So give me some more questions, guys.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So we've a lot of American members in our audience, and I'm curious about Irish Malts' ability to ship to the United States. And I know there's so many challenges, and it's where you're not shipping is not because you don't want to, it's because it's just so difficult. Could you talk a little bit about the United States?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've shipped to the US from day one, but we went down maybe a different road to some of the other stores. We are using a verified alcohol B2C courier, not your usual FedEx, or it ends up getting there on FedEx, but we don't deal directly with FedEx. So as I mentioned earlier, our stock that goes to the US is coming from our UK site. Our UK site has been damaged by Brexit. There's no two ways about it. And the stock getting in there is slow. It's cumbersome, and it has annoyed our US customers, and it has annoyed our UK customers. We're not happy about that, believe me. But next year, we're going to put a big effort and a big focus on getting that store back to where it was pre-Brexit. So the customers, our customers in Ireland and the EU, will get a bit of faster service. We can still ship to the US, but it's slow, and we can't do anything about it. We pay federal taxes. If you buy a bottle from IrishMalts.com, we have the federal taxes paid in New York City before you get it on the way. So by doing it the right way, we almost get a bad rep because it's a bit slower than maybe what you get in other places. But we're going to look at it next year. If you would like, I don't know, if you would like us to maybe get a place on the ground in the US and do direct e-com from the US, send in some comments, because I get some free market research here, Barry. So
Nothing's free, John.
Send in some comments. It's a thought in the back of our minds. Next year we're going to think about it. We have a place on the ground in the UK. We have a place obviously on the ground here in Ireland, and it's potentially an option to get a place going on the ground in the US. So if you have any interest in that, give us a comment.
Michael Mullen wants to know if Irish Malts has any plans to start trade accounts.
Oh yeah, we have. It's we started them 6 weeks ago. So if you have a bar or a business, a hotel, a restaurant in Ireland, hit up irishmalts.com/trade. There's no paperwork. There's no annoying reps going to call in the door. It's all inbound. You can set your trade account up online. We'll verify you same day, and there's no minimum order. So if you own a business in Ireland, it is very easy to open a trade account with us. So there you go.
Yep.
I'll watch out for the application, Michael.
Good stuff. Lisa wants to thank you, John, for your amazing service. Took the time out to call her in New York a few weeks ago to make sure her order was sorted out. Great stuff. Loads of comments like that, John. Don't be giving him a big head now. Larry Mazuka, our good friend in California. Full containers of Irish whiskey on the ships to American ports. Makes sense to him.
Well, there's 350 million people, so there's
2 containers.
A few containers ain't going to cut it.
There's another question I had. Oh yes, Martin has a question, I think, about what's in the cask behind us. Do you want to
talk
about this?
Okay, I will have a quick chat about this. This is a quarter cask. Let me get my bearings here. This is a quarter cask from the Kings County Distillery in New York, in Brooklyn, sourced by Nick Ryan of Thomond Gate Whisky. So in December, next month, we have a collaboration coming up with Nick. It's been fantastic. That's what keeps the lights on here, literally, collaborating with all these brands, JJ Corrie, Thomond Gate, you name it. We're collaborating. Nick sourced 8 of these. I'm going to get this right now, right? Nick has sourced 8 of these. So what Nick has put in these initially held peated bourbon. And what Nick has put in there is single malt, Irish single malt, that was finished in Pinot Noir in a Pinot Noir cask. Then that was transferred into 8 of these, and they have been resting with us for the last 4 or 5 months. So we've been keeping a close eye on them for flavor and for taste profile. They're ready. They're going to be going off to get bottled next month. They'll be released through in December. It's entirely exclusive to IrishMalts.com. It will be available via our trade platform as well. Here's one of the cool bits, right? This very cask, it's already empty and disgorged. It's empty, unfortunately. That is going to be given away in a competition in December, along with a bottle of the whiskey, a mini, which contains some of the same whiskey, and a whole load of Tomgate merchandise. If that's not the best competition in Irish whiskey, I don't know what is.
Just in time for Christmas.
That's an unbelievable sales pitch there, John. That was very good.
I'm checking this, though. 50 litres.
Nothing in it.
Nothing in it.
We stick a straw in it.
I can prove it.
And you get the fairy lights as well.
In case anybody's watching it from the government.
Free fairy lights. Here's a question from Kieran, who's still watching us. For you, John. Wondering why you got in the business.
Yeah, a bit of a long story, but I'll shorten it down. I used to fly commercially.
Listen to that.
I know. I would like to fly in that. I used to fly commercially in airplanes for about 11 years, but they took me out of Ireland, which was initially really, really cool. I got to travel to see a lot of the world. I've been in many US cities. I've been in 10, 12, 15 US cities. So I got to see a lot of it. I flew a little bit privately in Florida for about 5 or 6 weeks at the very start when I was training. And after 6 or 7 years, I wanted to get home. I pretty much knew I wanted to get back to Ireland. And I had a business when I was a bit younger, 24, which I made a bit of a hames of. And I always said to myself, I want to get back into business at some point in my life to prove myself wrong, nobody else. So that's what happened. I started IrishMalts.com with Robert. We ran through a million ideas. At one point, we were after nearly buying a pallet of a brand new Irish gin, and we were going to try and distribute it in the UK. I'm glad we didn't do that because that wouldn't have been very easy. So, you know, in the end, what happened was a little bit of hard work, a little bit of luck, a little bit of right place, right time. I actually ended up getting let go from my job in a year and 3 months ago. And IrishMalts.com, as a lot of you probably already know, was already on its kind of on this good trajectory. So it wasn't like, oh crap, I lost my job. It was like, Jesus, that's a relief. I lost my job. I got to get back to Ireland and copper fast in this business. So the last year and 3 months, we've gotten every license required. We now have 4 employees, which is huge for us. So myself and Robert and 4, that's 6 people. We're now returning a slightly significant amount of money to the Irish Exchequer with the second highest excise duty in the state, or in the Europe, sorry, not in the state, in Europe. So it's been a wild journey, and I can't believe I've been home here in 3 months already. Feels like I moved home yesterday. But the pandemic and COVID probably helped that. Not a lot was going on when we moved home in August 2020, and last year, if you remember, August to December was quite miserable. Quite miserable in Ireland.
Can I just add in there that John, again, I'm here to kind of be the hype man for everybody else as well, because John won't say this, but the business John and Robert have built here is absolutely incredible. I got a tour around here 2 months ago to see the warehouse and see the office, and I've come in here 2 months later, and John said, "Oh, you've never seen this room. We just knocked down a wall. We've had to expand here since you were last here. Oh, now we've got a bottling line. Oh yeah, now we're disgorging IBCs over here. Now we're disgorging casks." It's incredible what John and Robert have done in, I would say, the most regulated industry in Ireland, and the most difficult to navigate legally. And you have unbelievably built this, not unbelievably, you've built an unbelievable business.
Well, thank you.
Kudos to you on that.
Thanks very much, Barry. It's a lot of hard work. It really is a lot of hard work. And when Kieran said a while ago that Redlocks is about getting people to follow their dreams, well, if you're dreaming about building a business, just can that idea and go and learn to play the guitar.
Hey!
It's going to be.
Don't do that either. Open a whiskey place.
Kieran said, Kieran's follow-up comment, John, you're the quintessential example of our motto, giving it a shot.
Thank you, Kieran.
You might get a t-shirt. Great stuff, Kieran.
I love that slogan as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's brilliant. I see our next guest is getting ready in the backstage area, but before we bring Louise on, maybe we get one more tune before Louise comes on. What do you think, Roy? You had a beautiful song that you sang with Phil Coulter recently, that you wrote yourself, and a Cork song, a tough song, not necessarily an uplifting song, but a beautiful song and an important song.
Well, the song is about homelessness. It's called The Old Man on Patrick Street. Thanks for that. The song was released in June last year, and It was great collaborating with Phil. That came afterwards. I got a phone call from mighty Phil Coulter saying I needed to get my ass up to his place to do a version of it. So we did that as well. But the homelessness is a very delicate topic. You know, I try to humanize it in the song, and the character is completely fictional. But I suppose the message in the song is universal, even though Patrick Street is the main street in our city here, Cork City. That's why the location was Cork, called after St. Patrick. But I think the message is universal for around the world. Homelessness isn't just here nationwide; it's everywhere. But the song, I suppose, is to just shed light on the fact that nobody starts out in life to end up living rough, and you know, things go wrong somewhere or whatever. I suppose it's just so that you know, people might take notice or throw an extra few dollars or whatever the currency in your country is into somebody's cup, or buy them a sandwich or do something. But I'll sing it for you. Yeah?
Take it away.
The Old Man on Patrick Street. He's there in the sun and he's there in the rain. All the lines on his face showing his pain. Nothing to live for and nothing to gain. Every day in his life is all just the same. For the old man on Patrick Street, he's walking the streets day and night. His hands all wrinkled and his hair is snow white. A champion fighter one time in his life, but nobody cares about old boxing fights. He's the old man on Patrick Street, and darkness falls. No one hears him call, but the moon and the stars of the night. Tonight he sleeps alone. How can we do this to our own? Sweet Jesus, won't you look down tonight? He had a rough life from the start. When his wife left him, it tore him apart. But he found a new lover, keeps him warm in the dark. She's Nancy Whisky, he keeps her close to his heart. He's the old man on Patrick Street. I saw him last weekend, man, he got old. Worn out clothes and his story untold. Asleep on a bench out in the cold. Nancy beside him, the woman in gold. He's the old man on Patrick Street. And darkness falls. No one hears him call, but the moon and the stars of the night. Tonight he sleeps alone. How can we do this to our own? Sweet Jesus, won't you hear him tonight? I passed by today by that old man's bed. An empty whiskey bottle lay there instead. Someone left flowers and a note that read, a short message remembering the dead. For the old man on Patrick Street. For the old man St. Patrick's Street. Woo, thank you. Ooh, cheers. Thanks, man.
It's unreal.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
It's doing all right. It seems to be traveling quite a bit. People seem to be taking notice of the song, which is great. It's only out since June 2020, so still on its journey, but it's doing all right. You know,
It's hard not to be reminded of kind of the double-edged sword of whiskey, and something we talk at great length. We kind of celebrate whiskey all the time on the show and through all our channels, and we can't do that without acknowledging the other side of it. As hard as that is and tough to talk about, it's there, isn't it?
it's a constant reminder, I suppose. You need to only walk down any street and you'll see somebody who's living rough or down in the luck or whatever. So maybe it's something that we all should recognise. No, don't get me wrong. Everyone should enjoy a whiskey too, and you know, celebrate good times as well. It's not all doom and gloom, but certainly the song is to maybe shed some light on it.
Yeah,
you know?
100%, beautiful. When I heard it first with Phil Coulter, I put up full blast. I got a lovely new speaker. I was like, okay, I've got this Chris and the speaker now with this tune.
It's really cool.
It's moving. It grabs you.
It was great for me getting that call from Phil as well to come up and do it, considering he's one of the all-time great songwriters, like so many great Irish songs for the Dubliners and the Furies and Jim McCann and Paddy Riley and all these great people, as well as internationally writing My Boy for Elvis Presley and all the Bay City Rollers hits and everything else. He's certainly had a stellar career, one of the all-time greats. So it was great to do a version with Phil, the maestro.
I have another request for you in a bit. Tara Tansey, maybe if you're interested, right, in a bit. Brilliant Roy Buckley music on Facebook, folks. If you check out Roy, look at all these comments here. Amazing song, brother. Well done, great tune.
Thanks, guys.
Look at all these comments. Dave has a great point. It's a blessing to have the fortune to be able to drink or share the whiskey together. Exactly, it really is. Richard O'Kelly says, and the contender, Barry, another sad story. Yeah, Jack Doyle in Cork. Yeah, Cove. Yeah, Cove boy. That's right. Yeah, we've Richard's a great fan of that tune. Yeah, lovely song. Jimmy McCarthy, is there? Jimmy Mack, yeah.
Jack Doyle, the Gorgeous Gale.
The Gorgeous Gale, hands like shovels.
He looked nothing like John.
Hey.
Folks, we're going to go back talking about whiskey. We have talked about, we've touched on Irish malts. We're going to do a little tour of Irish malts in a minute. But before we do that, we're going to go to our next guest who's busy traveling the highways and byways of America because she was mad for a bit of Thanksgiving turkey and some cornbread and some stuffing over there in America. Let's bring on Louise McGuane, our friend from JJ Corrie. Hi, Louise.
Hello, folks. How are you?
Hi, Louise.
How's it going, guys? Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Where are you in America?
Hi, today is New Jersey. I'm in Bradley Beach, New Jersey.
How are you finding traveling around the States? Your first time back after the lockdown, is it?
Yeah, it's the first time back in 2 years. So, look, it's just nice to be back, you know, telling the story and meeting customers and meeting friends that I haven't seen in a long time. So it feels great to be back. You know, it's our biggest market over here, and we've loads of new customers that I've never gotten to shake the hand of. So it's brilliant. Great to be back.
You're doing deals and hatching plans and shaking hands with people who will eventually end up probably collaborating with you on bottles and barrels and all kinds of releases, I'd say, are you?
A little bit, maybe. There might be some
Where's that?
releases happening next year, maybe 3 of them.
This isn't the first bit of international travel, though, because you just came back from Spain as well. You were down there sniffing the barrels and the casks and finding some goodies. Yeah,
so like one of the nice things about lockdown is that we kind of got to, well, there was nothing nice about it, let's face it, but one of the advantages was like we got to kind of take a step back and go, okay, what are we doing now for the next 10 years basically? And you know, because that's whiskey timelines, that's a short whiskey timeline.
Yeah,
you know, I'm like John, like I founded the business and it was just like head down and like fight basically for years. And now I can actually go, all right, what are we doing in the next 10 years with all of our whiskeys? So when I founded the business, there was 2 or 3 distilleries in production in Ireland, we'll say, of whiskey specifically, and there's now 40 something. So we've started to kind of bring in lots of different distillate from not 40 distilleries, but like we have a nice variety starting to come through now. So we have lots of new make distillate, and we now have to figure out, okay, for the next 10 years, where do we need that distillate to go? What do we want it to grow up to be? And for us, that's all about the cask program and the wood program. So we kind of go like, because we don't distill, I get to spend all my time on that piece of the business, like after the still. So we have a partner, Cooper, in Spain, who he makes our casks for us with new American oak mostly. And then we partner with local wineries that are around him in Montilla and in Jerez, like basically sherry country, right? And we partner with those wineries, we taste all their wines, and then we season the casks for a couple of years. And then they come over and we fill them up essentially. And I'd met Rafa years ago, like he was one of my last meetings that I had pre-lockdown, and he had some stuff seasoning for us during lockdown. And we started to fill those casks in the summer. But it's a really kind of symbiotic relationship between the Cooper, the bodega and the winery and the winemaker and ourselves. So we're like really, we have a huge variety now of sherry wine and Spanish wine casks that we're starting to put all this different distillate in. So we've a lot of experiments going on. So I hope to do a lot more of that. Like I have a cooperage here in Kentucky now that I just called into while I was here. And there's a couple of other like craft producers around this country that I hope to see in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, it's all about going out there, finding casks, meeting distillers. It's the best bit of the job. Everybody needs a cooperage in Kentucky. I think you'll agree. Everybody needs a cooperage in Kentucky, yeah. Like, and everybody needs to go to Kentucky every now and then. It's like, it's an amazing, it's just a great learning opportunity. So I don't tend to go down like, I'm very respectful of Irish whiskey tradition, obviously, but I get very inspired by the boys in Kentucky and the lads there and the way that they operate and their approach. And, even our racking system in our rack house, like that's Kentucky style. And we're about to expand, and I want to have a big Kentucky style rick house, down in Clare. And that's a very particular feat of engineering. So I was meeting some engineers while I was there to discuss kind of plans for that sort of stuff. So they have great whiskey. I know we all know who makes the best whiskey, obviously, is Ireland, but they do have great whiskey and they have a great approach as well. I keep muting my microphone here because the rattling of the shutters here with the wind in Cork at the moment. So apologies that comes through. Yeah, the whole wall's going to come in on us. I saw some of the pictures you shared of the rick house, a new rick house in construction. They all follow the same kind of model, don't they? Is it like 9 pallets high or 27 wide, or? It sort of depends. So that one was like a 38,000 cask rick house, right? And I'll tell you a really interesting thing I learned while I was there. I was walking around with a distiller. So they're basically storage units, right? They're all made of wood, not pressure treated and not fire hazarded, right? There's very different rules in Kentucky. You wouldn't get away with that in Ireland. So they're just kind of storage systems, like shelving systems. And then they just skin the outside of them with the thinnest bit of tin corrugated iron you'll ever see in your life. And the reason that they do that is because the rick houses are not classified as buildings. If they were classified as buildings, they'd be taxed, they'd have property tax associated with them. Okay. So they classify them as storage units, and they're really like buckety things, they're obviously they're well engineered, but you could stick a pencil through the wall of it. Like there's nothing between the outside and the inside, really. Like it's amazing. They'd never withstand the West Clare rain and wind, would they? No, you'd have to modify the thing of it. And also building out a lumber, like I'd love to build out a lumber, but it won't. The problem is in Ireland now, it won't have been done before, and it'll be a whole rigmarole. That never stopped you. That never stopped you before. Yeah. I'm standing here in IrishMalts, and you had 2 collaborations with IrishMalts over the past few years around Black Friday, and you're about to have a third, and or Cyber Monday, is it? You're about to have a third. I have a lovely email received in my inbox with a big embargo sign on it saying, I can't talk about it. So I asked John earlier, I said, now what's Louise going to talk about when she comes on? We're not allowed to talk about this whiskey at all. Oh, I'm going to talk about it. I don't know why they did. I'm talking about it. It's like, John, sorry, we're talking about it. I don't really care what anybody says.
That's all right. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I might have something here. I might have something I can turn around at some point. But
yeah.
Okay. What's
So
going on with that?
we did 3. We've done 3, John, haven't we? We did the Rebel blend, which was Cork colors, which was great.
Yeah.
And then we did, then we did the Black Friday, and that's what this kind of follows on from. Like, you know, I've always been a massive fan of the lads, of the approach the lads at Irish Malts have. Like, I remember, John, we met when you were still a pilot. You know, you were very early on in the business. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I think what you do for the industry is really, you know, you make it very accessible for people like us, and you have a very modern approach. So the lads are always willing to do just fun stuff.
But Louise, just even on that, what you say there, the modern approach, like you might have seen we've just run we started day 1 of a 4-day Green Friday sales event, right? That's something that was never done by an Irish whiskey retailer in the past ever. It's 2021, and we actually had a little bit of we had brands who were like almost saying we're not going to discount our whiskey, and you know, we're kind of like, we're almost an e-commerce business more than we're a whiskey business. And like, what e-commerce business operates in 2021 and doesn't play the e-commerce game? So like, you know, from the Black Friday to the JJ Curry Cabernet to Black Friday, which by the way, I've just seen in the comments somebody's drinking right now, which is really awesome to see. To the Cyber Monday. That's what we're all about. Thanks for the nice words. Likewise, we've been singing the JJ Curry story ever since. I don't know how many people I've told about you.
Who said the story? You just mentioned the story. That's how I heard that. I'm pretty sure you mentioned the story.
You made the story.
I get the story. Yeah, we have been genuinely singing the story of JJ Curry over the last number of years. So it has been great. It's been like, remember we actually once met in Jakarta. How random is that?
We met in a hotel in Jakarta. I was out there at individuals, and you had flown in from wherever it was. Very random. Yeah, that's when we cooked up the Rebel blend. I think literally in Jakarta.
Rebel blend was amazing.
Yeah, it was really good. And then this is really cool. And it's to your point, like, we did the Black Friday with the guys, and like, our approach is modern as well. You know, we make very traditional Irish whiskies, but we make non-traditional Irish whiskies. So if you want a very good single malt, you can certainly come to us for that. And if you want, you know, a big fruit bomb of a blend, you know, the Gale is there as well. So like, we make hardcore Irish whiskey, and you know, and that's the sort of focus. But my philosophy would be like, you have to have a bit of fun with it occasionally. You know, the modern whiskey drinker, if you want to bring new people into drinking Irish whiskey, you have to relate to them in a way that's modern, you know, in a way that's just sort of a bit interesting. So the Black Friday was really cool. It was a black label, right? And I used to be a metalhead back in the day. So believe it or not, yeah. And I always wanted to do like a metal label, like a black label. So, and it was a play on Black Friday, obviously. So then this year we're doing the Cyber Monday, and it's 200 bottles of, it's a 20-year-old single malt. There goes the embargo. 20-year-old single malt, and it's called the Cyber Monday because it comes out on Cyber Monday. So, you know, I used to be a metalhead, but I also used to be like a geeky kind of sci-fi gamer type as well back in the day. So we made it look like kind of a vintage 1980s video game. And there's a little video game you can go and play online, and you can win a bottle if you play the game. And it drops on Cyber Monday. So we thought it was just fun and really appropriate to do something kind of gamey and sort of techie for people. And I think it's important because like whiskey it's a fun thing. It's a serious thing, and we take it very seriously. But like at the end of the day, we are here to create great moments for people, you know. So that's what this is. It's really fun. And it's a delicious one.
I want to say one thing like this. Like I have to take my hat off, which I actually have literally took my hat off.
He did take his hat off.
Put it on again.
Like this is so unique. Most brands in the country at the level of at the same age as your brand would not do this, but it is genius. Like the game is it's amazing. It's more than a whiskey. It's way more than a whiskey. I think we have 400, 500 unique game players already.
What's the link again to the
JJ Curry, just thecybermonday.jjcurry.com.
the Cyber Monday?
Yeah. And what I want to mention, Louise, as well is in the final run up to the launch, which is Sunday, the day after tomorrow, we are going to share a story on our Instagram and on our Facebook, and we're going to give away one of these. I'm going to bring it up.
Bring it up to the camera there. There we have.
So tell me if it zooms in.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
This is like I played.
you can see the screen there.
Oh, yeah.
It's there in front of you.
That's rocket science, John.
He's very used to whiskey, like.
I used to play it after my mother was watching. I played the N64 more than any kid should have ever played the N64. And the N64 games used to come in characters just like this. And this is like, there's maybe 10 or 15 of these in existence. That's a screenshot of the actual game. It's almost a little bit Game Boy like as well. We're going to on Sunday share a story. And we're going to get people to share their high score. It's a sub competition in a competition, because if you get the high score on the cybermonday.jjcurry.com, you're going to win a bottle of 20-year-old whiskey, which is really cool, and you're going to be forever, because this is a historic release, if you ask me. But you can't buy these. We've had people ask, can they buy them? By the way,
What's inside it though? What's inside the box?
a sample of the 20-year-old.
It's not a Nintendo cartridge.
No.
It's very disappointing.
It's 2021, Barry. So we're going to do a sub competition on Sunday. We're going to get people sharing their high scores on Sunday in the last 24 hours, and the highest score shared when they tag IrishMalts and they tag JJ Curry, the highest score shared up until Sunday is going to win one of these. So that's going to be the final 24-hour countdown to the Cyber Monday. By the way, it's also going to be available in Ireland, in Europe, in the UK, and in the US.
But there's only 200 bottles, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only 200 bottles of that. And the game is good because you get I'm in the game and I go over and back on the screen and I'm catching barrels, and you can strike me with lightning or hit me on the head with a barrel if you want to.
Great game.
Yeah,
I can't get past 1,350. It's almost like has anybody got past 1,500? I've never seen a score past that. You can?
I think 1,600 is the score now.
1,600.
Yeah. Let's pull up the leaderboard.
Right, we're going to pull this up on the screen so you can just
Stick to the days.
yeah. All right, I'm going to put this up.
Bring your real date of birth.
1922. That's when I was born. All right, so we're going to look at the leaderboard. All right, let me put this on the screen so everybody can see it. You can tell we haven't rehearsed. This is actually live. Okay, there we go. Here's the leaderboard. What's that? 1,690. Niall Smith. Okay. Let me see here now.
I hope that's not right. I hope that's not Robert, my brother.
I think that's your brother, Robert.
Well, if it is, he's going to have to be disqualified.
He can't win. Oh, Hank Barnes, our friend in America. Very good.
Thought for a second it was Ronan O'Gara as well, one of my heroes, but it's unfortunate.
And can you get past 1,690? You can. Can you get higher than that?
Well, you can, because it updates every day and somebody else is beating the high score, so there's plenty of people playing.
Okay.
So Niall Smith, you're on the way to a bottle of 20-year-old whiskey, pal.
And it's updated every 24 hours. Brilliant.
Yeah, and it's a lovely dram as well. Like, we worked on it over the summer, basically. It's a departure. It's actually predominantly, I think it's Cooley stock actually, rather than Bush stock. And I bought this big parcel of 20-year-old and 19-year-old during lockdown. Basically, just kind of became available. So it's sort of a departure from the flintlock for us. It's like big sort of vanilla kind of figgy dried fruit sort of tones. I can't remember, what did we bottle that at, John? Sorry, I wasn't there when they bottled. So
ABV 46.
Yeah, it was at 46.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went up and down the ABV along that. We're going to do a cask strength just for David Mara specifically, but we didn't.
He's not the only one who likes cask strength whiskies now in all of Ireland, surely.
But yeah, it's really delicious. Like, it's definitely JJ Curry style, but sort of less fruitier than the flintlock styles. Big, they have big sort of foresty fruits. It's more kind of dried, kind of muted, more muted tones, and like lovely vanillas going through it as well. So it's actually a really good Christmas malt, actually, is what it would be really, really good for.
And so it goes on sale on Monday, is it?
10 a.m. Monday.
Irish time.
Yeah.
5 a.m. Eastern. 2 a.m. Pacific for Dave Borges in California, who's going to chase this.
It's okay because the US stock is allocated to our UK website. So you're in the US, the guys in Ireland can't buy your whiskey, so shouldn't be a problem. The miracle of technology.
So folks, mark your calendars there, 2 a.m. Pacific time, 5 a.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. Irish time on Monday, Cyber Monday. Don't be bothering buying your TVs or your videos or anything like that. Save your money for whiskey. It's very important we keep this industry going. So Louise can keep funding her trips around Europe and America and having cornbread and turkey in New Jersey.
Exactly. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody from America who's tuning in.
It's very weird, Louise. We've switched roles. You are in America wearing a turtleneck, and I'm in Ireland.
I'm like it's the yin and yang. You're like black turtleneck, and I'm the white turtleneck. I'm going to keep this up now. Every time I appear, I'm going to do this. I've decided. For sure.
Oh God! All right. Well, I left up my game. I need to get more. I need to get warmer turtlenecks. By the way, my turtlenecks for America, were not for the cold temperatures of Cork on a late November night. I can tell you that for a start.
I didn't get the memo either.
Yeah. Poor Roy. I came up in a t-shirt. Yeah. Thought you're walking to the Caribbean or something on a cruise.
Louise, can you hook my mom up there? No.
What was your? I can't help you. I can't help you, Eleanor. Sorry. He's the boss. He's the boss of this stuff. Can't do it.
Yeah.
There's a request in, Louise, for you to pick the next song. Now you can't pick a Clare song. It must be a Cork song. But you can try and pick a Clare song.
No,
Lovely Rose of Clare.
Well, I'm trying to think. I like the Part and Glass, but it might be too early for the Part and Glass. Probably.
Oh, it was mentioned. Yeah, we
mentioned earlier.
We could dedicate it to you later.
And then Louise, you have to sing it.
I've already done that. You have to watch the recording of the lock-in from September 20. What was it? 29th.
We delete all those after a while, Louise, so that there's no proof.
Better off.
Court cases. You remember the court cases.
Yeah. Better off.
Okay, so I wonder, Louise, are all your travels as well, like to Spain? Would there be a whiskey club chat in the future, maybe about things we might be able to do together?
Yeah, I think I'd love to do that because I think it's a really interesting thing, like watching these whiskeys now kind of come around in these casks. Like they're, there's very particular flavor profiles that we've honed in on the wine side, and it's been a really nice. It's been a nice education as well to be knocking around Spain, tasting wine, and then trying to figure out, okay, well, what's that going to add to the distillate from wherever, So we have some older stocks as well, and not that old, like 5 to 6 year old stocks sitting in those casks that will be a lot faster to move. But yeah, I think sometime next year, some of them are showing really good now, but like I'm interested to see kind of like where they go. We also had a lot of these historic casks that we brought in from like there's a lot of these bodegas in Spain are just closing down because there's no market for sherry anymore. So I got this whole, we now have like a big massive 600 liter Solera system. We have 9 casks, massive ex Bodega Garvey butts basically.
Really?
With like Fino and Amontillado and all sorts of stuff. So the answer is yes.
Wow.
But we're still kind of feeling our way as to what's going on in those casks at the moment. But there's going to be there's the opportunity to do some really interesting finishes, not just the traditional PX and Oloroso, but there's some really interesting stuff that's doable. So yes, let's do it.
Let's talk early in the next year anyway. We'll come up and maybe have a walk around and a video and a chat and see what we can come up with. Which we had such great collaboration with the story, and it was just so well received. And you're back with us on Monday for your sins for our first ever club quarterly tasting. JJ Corrie's The Gale is one of our 3 whiskeys that we'll be tasting Monday night. And I think now we have almost 200 whiskey tasting kits have gone out around the United States, which is incredible.
That's amazing. Well done. Yeah. That's fantastic. You've really, my hat goes off to you. In my opinion, you're the best communicator in Irish whiskey. There's no doubt about it. And I think that what you do, this isn't like a butt kissing competition here, but like I mean this. I think that what you do for the industry is incredible, particularly what you've achieved in the last 18 months or so, building the community in America. it just fundamentally didn't exist prior to you coming on board and giving us the platform, myself, John, and all the other brands. It means so much to us. So you're a very valuable member of our community, and you get all the prizes for communicating. As far as I'm concerned.
That means a lot, Louise, coming from you. And look, this is just great crack. I'll always downplay any compliments because I'm from Cork, but I appreciate it, and I love what I'm doing. So we'll keep doing this, and you keep making great whiskies and bottling great whiskies, and I'll have an easy job just talking about them. So that's the easiest bit of all.
Exactly.
So we won't keep you much longer. I know you're busy meeting and greeting in the United States, but we're really excited to talk to you Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for our Whisky Club quarterly tasting. For our Whisky Club members that are here tonight watching, if you haven't yet registered for the private Zoom, go ahead and do that, even if you don't have the whiskey kits. Or if you do, you still need to register for the Zoom so you can watch our tasting. Louise will be on first because her whiskey will open our tasting event. So you'll be the first ever whiskey sampled in the Stories and Sips Whisky Club of all time.
Cool. Thank you. That's awesome.
No better woman.
Yeah.
And a great whiskey to go with it, the Gale. So really looking forward to that. And good luck with the travels between now and then. And I'm really excited for Cyber Monday, 10 o'clock Irish time, 5 a.m. That won't last long, 5 a.m. Eastern. Will it? It won't last long?
I don't think so.
And everybody who buys it has to drink it. Okay, that is the rule. You have to open the bottle and drink it for Christmas. That's the rules.
Open everything, store nothing. Open everything at the same time. Jeff has all the full bottles of the lineup at the ready. Fantastic, which is great as well. So can't wait for that Monday night. So Louise, listen, thanks a million for joining, Louise. And really excited for Cyber Monday. And we'll chat to you on Monday night.
All right, thanks, guys. Keep up all the good work. I just realized this is kind of like the adult version of the toy show, the whole thing.
It is, yeah. We're just moving whiskeys in front of us here, like passing them, like, what's the next toy that's coming up, and holding microphones to them.
Yeah.
We nearly have 500 Irish spirits on our website now. 500, nearly. That's amazing. Yeah. Which is it's in the top. I reckon it's in the top two. It's in the top two range wise actually in the world, you could say.
Yeah, definitely. It's like
amazing.
I think, but the curation that goes into it as well, like, is really.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Can you answer that question?
I don't know.
You don't know it yet, Louise. Do you know the price on the Cyber Monday?
You have to ask John on it. You have to ask John.
It's going to be retailing 20-year-old at €199.95. That will be for the US guys less VAT. So in the US it'll be a little bit cheaper.
20-year-old single malts, vatting of 2 casks, if I remember reading the embargoed email the right way.
Yeah, vatting of 2 casks and 200 bottles.
Yeah.
199. Brilliant. All right, so we're going to have a tune from Roy. Louise, thanks a million. We'll chat to you on Monday night and enjoy the United States.
See you, Louise.
Talk to you later. Happy Thanksgiving. All right. Is it 50 CL? No, it's 70 CL, Andrew. 70 CL.
Back to the Three Stooges. The only qualified person just left
and has left us 3 in charge of the asylum.
What are we going to do?
What am I supposed to do?
I don't know. Something musical, I hope. Have you something? Oh yeah.
Some whiskey.
Tartanzi or?
I can do that. I was going to do
or something whiskey.
Minnesota was in my head over the 2 boys earlier, and Bob Dylan wrote a great song about whiskey called "The Copper Kettle."
Oh yes.
Tells you how to make it and how to get away with it. Not joking, lads. I can barely feel my fingers. Here, it's so freezing.
Here, do you want a scarf or something?
Get you a copper kettle. Get you a copper coil. Cover with a new made corn mash. Never more you'll toil. You just lay there by the juniper while the moon is bright. Watch them jokes a filling daddy made whiskey, my daddy made it too, and we ain't paid no whiskey tax since 1792. We just lay there by the juniper while the moon is bright, watch them jokes of feather in the pale moonlight. Build you a fire of a hickory and ash and oak. Don't use no green or rotten wood, or they'll catch you by the smoke. As you lay there by the juniper while the moon is bright, watch them jokes of feather in the pale moonlight. Get you a copper kettle, get you a copper coil, and cover the new-made corn mash. Nevermore you'll toil, you just lay there by the juniper while the moon is bright. Watch them jokes of feather in the pale moonlight. Just lay there by the juniper while the moon is bright. Watch them jokes of feather in the pale moonlight. In the pale moonlight. In the pale Yeah, with the copper kettle from Bob Dylan. Anyway, there's a whiskey one. I have to work in some sort of whiskey songs for the night that's in it, really.
Just one or two, like.
This heater is amazing.
Right, we got heat, lads. We got heat.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's almost like we should have like a drum with that.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
Yeah, we're just going to warm ourselves up. We've opened a door over here to let some heat in. All right, so Daniel, you got the RRP on that. So here's what we're going to do next, folks. Amazing feedback there. Give Roy a round of applause. Johnny's giving claps. And
Johnny's after running away. He hated it.
John's gone. We've lost John. What we want to do now is we want to do a tour of Irish Malts. So what we're going to do is we're going to have John come on, and he's going to flip his camera around, and he's going to walk around the warehouse and share with you the Irish Malts setup. There's a certain couple of doors he can't walk behind for exclusivity reasons and embargo reasons and things. He's just not allowed to share. Whiskies that won't see the light of day for a while yet are behind the doors. I broke in earlier. I saw them all.
I told you there was a speakeasy club.
Oh, you found a jacket. So I'm going to let John give us a tour and show us the shelves and maybe talk about the setup and maybe point out some interesting whiskies that are on the shelves as well.
He's fixing his hair as we speak.
Right, so let me bring him on here.
He's looking after himself.
Turn your phone there and see, John.
Like that. Okay, so on the mobile.
Right, so give us a tour around. So you walk around and you'll have to flip the camera around the other way so people can see the shelves and you can talk away. Oh, he's gone again. We lost him. That's all right.
Tour, John. It was brilliant, man.
This is not rehearsed. This is a live figuring out tech. Oh, here he comes again. You're in again.
Taking the camera does not look like an easy thing. Barry, have a look here.
Okay,
so let's see. Guys, give you a quick tour of, for anybody, being in the e-commerce business, it's really difficult because I was jealous of Kieran earlier on. He was saying that he met every customer face to face in the bar over the years and built up relationships. Well, we have to build up virtual relationships in our business, and it's quite difficult. So here is our customer service slash admin area where Grace and Lavinia work. And the two of them are absolutely brilliant. This is their office. There's our front door. We do have some restrooms there, and we have our little kitchen where the tea and coffee gets made. Let me turn around this, and we will see the guys. This is our setup. Behind the scenes, exclusive here. Bear with me as I kind of walk backwards into whiskey. All the packaging that we keep. We ran out of packaging last year and had to send stuff out in whatever we could find. So this year we've stocked up quite heavily on packaging, and these will be our packing stations. Let's see, like this batch there's a batch of orders here that would have actually been getting packed before Craig, one of our packers, left at the end of the day. So you can see our subscription 3 drams there. There's a couple of boxes going out today. Some Waterford whiskey. There's some Muff gin, some WD O'Connell for Cullen, Bushmills, a little bit of Jameson Black Barrel and the Redbreast Bird Feeder hiding down there. It's a good time to mention as well that the WD-19, if I can have a bottle there. There you go. Here's something that's launching next Friday. I know that the PX series that Dahi puts out is very popular, so that's already in house and will be coming out next Friday. Let me take you around. There's some Dingle. You know, Dingle has been one of the brands that we've really enjoyed working with over the last 3 or 4 years. You really could find anything coming around here. We have our Christmas lights. So basically, we just have like aisles. I see some Kirker and Greer there. We have aisles and aisles of whiskey. Literally, if anybody sees anything that they want to talk about, like, like, let us know, Mr. Chandler. Dunville's another great brand. I wouldn't mind giving a few shout outs to some of the brands. Blacks, there's Sam down in Kinsale. In fact, we have something coming out next week. That's the first release of the Pieces of 8 series from Blacks of Kinsale. We have 30 bottles of it allocated. Barry's pointing at something over here. There's 2 bottles of Redbreast PX. They are the last 2 known bottles unopened in the wild. West Cork, another brand that we've been working closely with. Cologne. We have some Cologne Gloria, and I keep an eye out because there might be some Cologne news next week. Can't really say much more than that right now.
Show them the locked door, but they can't.
Yeah, this is the door. This is where we keep the secret whiskey. No, this is where we keep.
See what's behind your folks.
This is going on. There's been some crazy male oak releases. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen these releases. Worth giving a show because the bottles are just so cool. Look at the bottle. That is insane. That's a 10-year-old from Male Oak. Barry, see anything there that you want to? Made a Matt 28. I think the last one sold recently. Yeah, we're out. We had a fair. It's gone now at distillery level. So if you see Metal Madness 28, it's gone into the category of Method and Madness 31, which is now not available at, it's not available at distillery level anymore. As I said earlier, we have like nearly 500 products. We keep going. We just keep going. We keep buying. We keep listing. Whether we feel like it's going to sell or not, we'll buy it if it's made here in Ireland. And that is, and as I said earlier on a story earlier, the whole point of our naming our Black Friday sale Green Friday, it's quite obvious, like Green Ireland. And every €1 that's spent on IrishMalts.com, that €1 goes back into an Irish business, and that's something we're actually very proud of. None of the money is exported by big corporations, like most of our money that we spend is. So I suppose that would be. I can't see the comments here. Is anyone commenting? Does anyone see any whiskey?
So sent the PX19 this way.
Let me see. Michael Mullins, Gloria makes a banging espresso martini. Look at all the Cologne. Lots of people talking about Cologne. I'm wondering if Cologne is the co-release peated Pugine.
Yeah, well, Brendan would kill me, but maybe not. Maybe if that's if somebody's rambling. No, it's maybe not. What if I heard Peter Puccini? I haven't heard anything about that. But something really special is probably on the way from Cologne. Thankfully not yet. But next week I reckon it will arrive. So yeah, like Louise said earlier, we're here for the independent and the startup brands really. Well, we're here for all brands, and we list products from Irish distillers to Bushmills all the way down to the latest startup.
What's your favourite bottle on the shelves?
My favourite bottle on the shelves, I honestly really don't have one. I unfortunately had a chance to taste Redbreast 30-year-old at the Whisky Exchange did recently. Amazing. So I don't buy much whiskey now personally at the moment, because all we do every day is buy whiskey with the business. But I actually managed to buy a bottle of that Redbreast 30-year-old, Barry. Yeah, I had to actually go to auction to buy it. So the only problem is that it's over in the UK, stuck at the moment. But I do plan on getting it back. Oh yeah. We did ask at one point. I asked up the West Cork guys. I said, guys, we want to buy every whiskey that you have that you sell commercially. So we ended up getting every sort of whiskey in from West Cork. One of them being Skibbereen Eagle, and they have a blend and they have a single malt. There was a Skibbereen Eagle 14-year-old, and there was a cask strength. They're not available anymore. So if you see them around, grab them at auction. Here's the bird feeder.
Redbreast 12.
Yeah.
I've never seen one in real life.
That's first time.
First time, yeah.
Yep.
Thanks a million, John. How am I going to get home?
Highly allocated. Like, I mean, it's very difficult for us sometimes selling some of the Irish distiller stuff, because the allocations are so tight and we have so many loyal customers. It's so hard to try, and you physically can't look after everybody. We do our best anyway. For Cullen, I'm looking at.
That's Noel Sweeney's
Noel Sweeney
release here.
And that for Cullen 20-year-old is actually one of the headlines in the Green Friday sale. It's €40 off the RP, and it's a beauty.
Maybe distilled by Noel, perhaps in a previous life. Who knows?
It's a real beauty.
The signature on the bottle, anyway, there on the box, Noel Sweeney. There he is, Powers Court Distillery. I've never tried this 20-year-old. Is it?
It's really good. Like, for Cullen is one of these brands that it's hard to explain. They're going to explode one of the days, I reckon. It's everything from the distillery to the guys to know that they're like, actually, good story. When we started the business up, the first business to business conversation I had with no experience in the whiskey game was with Alex Pierce of Powers Court, and he gave myself and Robert a chance, and we walked out of the Powers Court Hotel. If anybody knows it, it's like the most fancy hotel in Ireland, and we that's where we met the guys, and we had zero experience, and I'm sure Alex must have known that by looking at us, and we walked out of there and like we were pinching ourselves. We were like, wow. We were just like, wow. And that was the first day that we had a business to business conversation with a business in Ireland. And at this point, I remember when Louise McGuane shared something on her Instagram a couple of years ago. She showed her the amount of unread emails in her inbox, and there was like some insane level of emails in there. And I was always able to keep on top of my emails. And recently, this Q4 has swamped us. I'm actually receiving nearly 250 emails a week on my business email address, and it is, I feel a bit like Louise McGuane did that a couple of years ago. So JJ Corrie has come on a little bit as a brand. They're getting a little bit more established, which is just great to see. It's great to see the new brands come into us. We make some small orders, some can make some bigger orders, but we want them to get those big orders overseas. We want them to export to America. But we do like now these days having the ability to really help the startup brands. And that's what a lot of the people are interested in out there in whiskey. They want to see what's going on, what's new. And I suppose I'm not going to ramble on forever here. What I do want to say is I recognize an awful lot of names coming up in the comments, and the reason I do is because you guys have been making orders on our website, and I just want to personally say thank you very much for the support over the years. Long may it continue. But no, I think I'll hand it back to the main screen and stop this wobbling. Thanks very much, guys, and we'll see you in a while. I'll see you on the other camera.
You're still there. You're still on screen. You promised you were leaving. Good man. Great stuff. Right, folks, let us know what you're drinking. We're going to probably have 2 more tunes, and before we wrap up tonight, before we freeze to death, because John doesn't want to buy us a heater. No, he's actually running a heater. He's 2 heaters. I walked in tonight, and there was what looked like a jet engine on the ground, and it was a diesel-powered heater, and I put my hand in front of it, and I lost all 5 fingers.
That's actually a true story.
Yeah, John just laughed. He just laughed while I lost my 5 fingers. So
Look like you're out of Fantastic Four.
We have insurance. We do have. We have
great.
business insurance.
Great consolation. So what we'll do is we'll go to Roy for another tune because, well, geez, he's far more interesting to listen to than the 2 of us.
I don't know about that. What do you want me to do, Barry?
I don't know, but I'm putting on a hat now because after getting, I don't know, the temperature's dropped and there's holes in the wall and everything here. Like
This shutter is going to attack us soon.
the shutter's going to fall down. What are you thinking?
I don't know.
Tartanzi, parting glass. We should end on, I suppose, or
we can do.
or a hungry feeling.
Oh, you'll have to sing the old song.
No.
Ladies and gents, I don't think Barry should get away without singing a song tonight, in fairness.
I think we should all sing that one.
Okay, grand.
But that's the last one tonight.
Okay, right. Clever work. Tara Tans you asked me to do, is it?
Never seen lads perish in a whiskey warehouse.
You do when they have to drive.
That's right.
I totally didn't get the memo. I brought my car and I didn't bring a proper coat.
Drinks will keep you going through cold brew and then. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Right, what have you got for us, Roy? What are you thinking?
I don't mind. Do you want to take a request? You said Tara Tansy. You want me to do that?
Yeah, do Tartanzi.
Tara Tansy was a song given to me by the mighty Pete St. John, one of Ireland's great songwriters. Pete will be 90 years old this year. He's the man who gave us classics, lads, like he wrote The Fields of Athenry, wrote Dublin the Rare Old Times, The Ferryman, Hey Johnny McGorry, The Mero, Rings and Rose, all those big ones covered by all the great balladeers. But this one, he asked me if I'd represent him with a song called Tara Tansy, about a girl from Galway who did her part in the Easter Rising. The story goes that when Padraig Pearse stepped out to read the proclamation from the steps of the GPO in Dublin for 1916, Tara was in the building behind him playing her fiddle. Well, she wore a famous green scarf that she called a Ramdida. Ramdida, R-A-M-D-E-E-D-A. Pete has such a love for the Irish language that each of the letters in Ramdida translates. It's a word in Irish, Rodalling Macanta, Driocht Oldest Éireann Docus Arish, which means something beautiful and honest, the magical culture of Ireland, hope again. So that scarf that she wore, the Ramdida, was like a symbol of freedom, a symbol of defiance, I suppose. But here's the song. Tara Tansy lived her dream, the rising of 16, at Easter time 100 years ago, when she answered Ireland's call as a rebel rise or fall, in gunfire the Dublin GPO. And the Ramdida she wore was a scarf like none before, honouring the spirit of 16. And her fiddle graced the morn with the new republic born, and its proclamation set the scene. Ramdida, Ramdida, everybody wave your Ramdida. It's a symbol of the free, uniting you and me. Here's to Ireland and the freedom, Ramdida. So beyond or right or wrong, let us honor them in song. The rebel men and women of 16, led by Pearse and Connolly, fought and died for liberty. Remember when we waved the Ramdy-da, Ramdy-da, Ramdy-da. Everybody wave your Ramdy-da. It's a symbol of the free, uniting you and me. Here's to Ireland and the freedom, Ramdy-da. So if you love all Ireland, shake your neighbour's hand, and everybody wave your Ramdy-da. It's a symbol of the free, uniting you and me. Here's to Ireland and the freedom, Ramdy-da, Ramdy-da, Ramdy-da. Everybody wave your Ramdy-da. It's a symbol of the free, uniting you and me. Here's to Ireland and the freedom, Ramdy-da. Here's to Ireland and the freedom, Ramdy-da. Here's to Ireland and the freedom, Ramdy-da. Pete gave me a Ramdy-da scarf. I just haven't got it with me. I did an online gig last night and I left it there. I forgot to pack it up.
Tonight you'd need it.
I should have brought it. Yeah. Tonight
Did you get a few of them?
He gave me a few. I left them in different venues around Europe and around America, wherever he was gigging, Irish venues and stuff, that I knew the scarf would be a kind of a link to home, or the talking point or whatever. So they're around Norway and Holland and the US and different places. So there's bits of them everywhere.
But you can tell that Roy is used to living in Cork and I'm used to living in San Diego by how we're dressed like. I'm not used to this cold at all.
I just didn't get the memo, man. I got sold out, folks. Yeah, he's actually wearing a shorts.
No, Roy doesn't even have any pants on.
Yeah, used to the online gigs all through the pandemic. All you need is a shirt. You can do it in your jocks.
That's right. Just don't drop the camera. That was brilliant. John is after running away, and
John has gone off to put on the tea and make the sandwiches.
Yes, he's doing tea and coffee duty over there before we have to go home. What are you have doing? Oh, no sugar, no, just black. He's on coffee duty. What are we going to talk about next? Oh yeah, we have we did our tour of Irish malts. We talked about Cyber Monday. We talked about Daithí O'Connell's 19-year-old single malt, which is very exciting. That's the oldest single malt released from W.D. O'Connell, isn't it? Because this is it's not the same as it's not a 1 year older than the 18. It's I think it's slightly different as far as I know. Yeah. But that's really exciting. 19-year-old single malt coming out. When does that come out? Monday as well? Friday. Okay, a week from today. Very good. WD Friday. Do you know what price this retails for? 160 for this. And Daithí O'Connell doing great things. 2 years in business. Give Daithí a shout. Just 2 years in business. 2 years ago at Whisky Live, Daithí launched with Chris Hennessy up at the stand in Dublin, up at the Dublin Castle. And it was a great night. And that was the start of Daithí O'Connell and W.D. O'Connell. We're going to hear a lot more about Daithí O'Connell and W.D. O'Connell. And in the Whisky Club, we're going to hear more about W.D. O'Connell. You might have heard it here first, but maybe our next quarterly tasting might include W.D. O'Connell whiskies. So this is the only pitch or chat I'm going to do about the club tonight, apart from welcoming Louise McGuane when she was on earlier and talking about her appearance on Monday night for our first quarterly tasting. But this is the first lock-in we've done since we launched the club last month in October, and we're now gone past 250 members. I really want to thank you all for just investing in the club and investing in Irish whiskey and the community that we're building here. I'm really excited for what we're doing. I'm having conversations every day about how we can grow this club, and more brands are interested in partnering with us to do great things for you, the members. So logistics are a big issue right now in Europe and getting whiskies and getting items to the United States, but we're working through that and we'll share all the details as we do. But if you're not yet a member of the Stories and Sips Whiskey Club and if you're in the United States where we're primarily based and have all of our logistics, you can go to storiesandsIps.com and sign up there. That's it. No more pitch. The lock-in is always open to everybody. And Sinead. Right. I'm having a little sip of coffee now. You've never seen this on a lock-in before. A hot coffee. But if I don't, something's going to fall off me.
Maybe there's something in it, is there, Barry?
There is not. Cyber Monday, missed that part. Yeah, so Cyber Monday, there's going to be, where did that bottle go? Here it is. It was technically embargoed, but we're releasing it here first. Here's a picture of it. This is the Cyber Monday collaboration between JJ Corrie and Irish Malts. A 20-year-old single malt. Let me go up close to the screen to show you this.
I think the game is a great idea as well, Barry.
It is a great idea. Yeah, and another example of innovation, Louise doesn't own a distillery, but she knows how to creatively market because of just an ingenious way of thinking about how to get whiskey in front of people, even though she's not making the whiskey, she's sourcing incredible whiskeys and bringing them together and packaging them up in really unique ways. I think you'd all agree that packaging like that is really a first for Irish whiskey. Great to see it.
Brilliant.
Great to see it. Andrew wants me to spit out the coffee. I can't. Or something. I'm going to lose a limb or something standing here in the cold. It's almost below freezing here. I don't know how this whiskey doesn't. John should come in here every morning. There should be whiskey on the floor after freezing overnight. He's doing the dishes now inside the kitchen. So what are we going to do next? Is it time for the Owl Triangle, or is there one before the Owl Triangle?
I was thinking of doing a song for the two lads there earlier, Kieran and Noel.
Kieran's still watching in the background there.
Because
Jumping closer there to that.
I wrote an immigration song called Dark Rose of Laden, which goes back a lot of history in it, because I'm sure you boys are aware that Dark Rose of Laden is another name for Ireland, like Banfa, Roisin Dove, basically, Dark Rose of Laden. But it goes back to 1602. I spotted the Kinsale gin up there, and the Battle of Kinsale was in 1601.
Mm-hmm.
And I see you have the Red Earl whiskey down the back as well there.
So you don't miss a trick.
I don't, because it all links. There's the Hugh O'Donnell, Red Hugh O'Donnell, led that battle down in Kinsale, almost defeated the British, and afterwards went to Spain to seek help from the King of Spain and the Pope, and he died out there. So that was just before the Flight of Earls, around 1607. So when he was out there, it said he wrote a poem called Dark Rose of Laden, which is where that came from. So I always had that image in my head of those Ireland being described as a beautiful woman kind of thing, you know. So as a nod to the writers who came before me, I used the title of Dark Rose of Laden, but the song is on my own and the melody is on my own. It's from the point of view of an Irish immigrant in America.
Lovely.
Which is why the lads came into my head and doing so well for themselves, and so many others out in paving the way. It's for anyone who's an Irish immigrant after moving somewhere. Yeah. Good news was this went to number 1 for me last October. Shameless plug, lads. Go and download it. I watched the ship sail one American night over a dark ocean, away out of sight. In the summer's warm breeze, my mind wandered free. I thought once again of Dark Rose of Laden. On a faraway island of green and gold, where the aging of love never unfolds. That's where she's waiting across the foam for her sons and her daughters. She's calling them home. Many have fallen for her charm and her ways, her music and laughter, the array she displays. Those who have loved her are those who have seen the wonder and beauty of Dark Rose of Laden. There's a silver stream where the moon beams, waves gently lap a scene from a dream. I see her dancing in her gown of green, calling us home, dark Rosalie. La da da da, la da da, la da da da, la da da da. When I left, she was smiling and wishing me well. Her tears fell like rain, she was hurt, I could tell. One day I'll go back, though the future's unseen. Too long I have missed her, my dark Rosalie. Many have fallen for her charm and her ways, her music and laughter, the array she displays. Those who have loved her are those who have seen the wonder and beauty of dark Rosalie. Many have fallen for her charm and her ways, her music and laughter, the array she displays. Those who have loved her are those who have seen the wonder and beauty of dark Rosalie. For all the Irish immigrants watching in, there you are. Always welcome home. Right, get in.
Amazing.
Very good.
I'm just standing on the side there, just in a daze watching you play. It's unreal.
Thank you.
It's unreal. That combination of the voice, and there's a passion coming through that voice that's just unbelievable.
Nice.
Did you always, like as a young fella, did you have this unique voice that was kind of drawn to singing, or is it something you developed over time?
I grew up in a family of singers and songwriters and things, so ballads and folk songs and all that were always my first love. Don't get me wrong, like I like all styles of music, but when it comes to writing and stuff, you know, songs come up in different ways, but ballads and folk songs and history and the stories and songs always took my attention. So since I'm a kid, I've always been collecting Irish songs since I'm a kid, like, you know, kind of like you with whiskies. No, yeah.
Songs are cheaper, I'd say.
No, it's great. You know, it kind of goes hand in hand. I suppose I cut my teeth and trad sessions and things when I was a teenager. And of course, yeah, when you get old enough, you'd be having a whiskey and a chat, and you'd be picking up songs and different things from other guys, you know. But it's very much part of our culture, you know, and it should be celebrated and
100%
nurtured, you know.
Yeah.
I run these events called the Song Collector Sessions, where I bring in our own Irish artists.
In Cork, is it, or
everywhere? We did them, yeah, like around Ireland. We did 2 shows in Las Vegas a couple of years back to break a Guinness World Record for longest concert with my pals, the Black Donnellys. They just picked up an Emmy for their movie, An Irish Story, This Is My Home. So yeah, so it's travelled a bit, you know. All our own guys, you know, great song with us, like you mentioned, Phil Coulter there, and Christy Dignam and Joe from Aslan, and God rest him, Liam Riley from Bagatelle, and Mike Hanneran from Stockton Swing, you name it, Mickey Joe Hart, everyone, you know, bring them all in. Derek Warfield from the Wolf Tones, whatever, just different avenues of Irish music, because I think it's important to keep it going, you know.
What about more contemporary kind of bands like The Frames, Interference? Would they have been stunning?
Actually, isn't there? I saw Glenn Hansard at a thing out there recently. Isn't he doing a big thing with Interference with that movie?
That's right.
Fergus,
Breaking Out with Fergus. Fergus Farrell. Yeah,
it looks great.
It's an amazing movie. Yeah, I got to see it there.
Ireland always had a great, healthy music scene. You know, not just the singers, but also the songwriters. Like I mentioned, Tara Tansy there being written by Pete St. John, Fields of Athenry, and all those great ballads that sound like they were written 200 years ago. But that was in the 70s and the 80s. And
Unreal,
stuff,
isn't it?
And again, Phil Coulter was there, Shane McGowan, you name all these people. Shameless plug there for them. I saw the Pogues bottle over there.
Oh, yeah.
This fella's been walking around the shelves. He's spotted every whiskey and he's tying them all into a song or a conversation now. That's a real songwriter, picking up what he sees and including it along the way. Yeah. Or else he's just about to rob all the whiskey because he knows where it is.
I'm going to back up the car there.
That's your buddy's knocking on the door there, is it?
Yeah. But no, I'm busy though. I'm back doing some recording now again since things opened up a bit.
Yeah. Are you playing around Cork a bit?
I am. I'm doing a few of my old regular hands, but the music scene isn't back properly yet. Well, who knows now with this new variant again, but
I know.
Hopefully 2022 sees us kind of getting back out there. Hopefully getting back to the US as well, guys. I'm just trying to sort out my visa at present. So we'll see. It's good to get the songs out. I'm hoping to be back for St. Patrick's week and all that anyway, and the weeks leading up and afterwards. But it's good to be up and moving again because sitting at home for 18 months and it's difficult. What really got me through it, probably like yourself, Barry, online gigs there.
Yeah.
I see some of my followers there from the gig are in tonight as well. It's been really great when I had some sort of platform to perform. Now, nothing beats a room full of people at a show or whatever. But when you didn't have that, it was like a two-way street. You get people messaging me saying, these nights were great because they couldn't go out and the cinema wasn't open. There was no restaurants, no pubs or clubs or theaters. So it was online or nothing for everybody.
I know.
But it was a two-way street because it gave me a platform and it gave, I suppose, the viewers some sort of entertainment as well. But
you got to reach more people too than you could fit into any bar really or any small venue.
If you travel around, I love gigging in Holland, I love gigging in Norway or the US or whatever, but you can only be one place at one time.
I know,
so it was a meeting place for people to connect and shout in the requests and all that,
I've missed hearing the kind of the live music and like standing here tonight. I don't know. There's something. It transports you. Like you get into a daze when you listen to live music. You can't
beat it, man. You can't beat it.
You can't. It just lifts you.
It does. Yeah. That's what you're asking me earlier about the songs and things. I love songs with stories in them. Like it kind of if someone can deliver it well, like Liam Clancy was a king. Luke Kelly was brilliant at it. Kind of making you get lost in it. I suppose that's where the love and the passion for it came for me, being around singers and my family and songwriters, and then listening to all those great Irish artists, balladeers who were able to tell the story in the song. That's kind of what my thing is, I suppose,
Phil Coulter called you one of the last great balladeers.
Yeah. It's a nice title to get from a legend like that.
Tell you what.
Nice.
A lot of guys throwing stones at me over it as well, though, I still sing ballads. All right, but I didn't say it. Yeah. I'm in working with Phil actually at the moment with a new song.
How are you?
Out in the new year. One of his ones, a song called Holy Moses. So working on that, and I feel my own songs on the way again. So 2022 is looking all right so far.
That's good. Fingers crossed first. Fingers crossed first.
Yeah.
And for those people questioning whether this is really a lock-in, if we're drinking tea or coffee, we are locked in to this warehouse, and we're bringing great music, great chat about whiskey, and we're being responsible so that we can drive home safely tonight. So we're drinking teas and coffees.
I'm on your side, though. I think this is a pretty shabby.
We could have done this differently, but the sad reality is that there are so few taxis available to take us home at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning on a weekend in Cork. We'd have been stuck here at 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, you might say, that's brilliant. You're stuck in a whiskey warehouse at 7 o'clock in the morning.
There's not enough bottles, no, man. There's only enough for
We wouldn't have enough here. We wouldn't have enough. This will get us to 3 o'clock in the morning.
We've got a good 2 hours out of
and that's it. Excuses. Our lads.
We just have to do it again, Barry.
I love this. Like, we come back after 4 or 5 weeks off. We give an amazing 3 hours of our time, and it's like, Why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you drinking? You should be drinking. You should be drinking. No.
The Irish thing is, are you on antibiotics?
yeah, antibiotics, yeah.
Are you sick? Why
Lots
aren't
of
you
raised
drinking?
eyebrows. The next lock-in, if we're not on location, we will have a glass, a drink in our
That could
hands.
be dangerous. Let's be serious.
but,
that could be very dangerous.
It could be. You'll have to do another lock-in with us in the future, will you?
We will.
When we do a
definitely,
proper one, will we could tie it in with a venue that you're doing a gig at,
Oh, that could be fun.
and then we tie a whiskey thing in with it, and then we literally get locked into the pub.
There's food for thought. That could be fun.
Keep that in your back
That could be
pocket.
fun.
Keep that in your back pocket. You can come too, yeah. Sponsored by Irish
We
Malts.
don't know whiskey.
We sponsor it. Exactly.
Are you pregnant? That's the next one. Look, are you pregnant?
Are you pregnant? Are you on antibiotics? Why aren't you drinking?
Yeah, lads, you can drink for us. Like, don't worry about us. Like, we're happy. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we've sampled most of these already. Like, not tonight, but other times. Like, you have to drink for us
We
tonight.
get stuck in when we go home.
This wouldn't be a lock-in in Tipperary. No, it wouldn't. I understand. It's not
Maybe
really
we
lock-in
should
in
do it
Cork.
Tipperary. So you organise
Yeah,
it.
bring us to Tipperary, so Kieran. Endearment. We're all drinking a share. Good man, John. That's it. Stories and sips of coffee. Listen, coffee has a place in a lock-in too, because it's the last thing you'd have before going home to wake you up before you walk the mile home past the cows and the donkeys. Johnny's doing his part. Good stuff. All right. So, is there anything else we want to cover with surprise? What about Clonakilty? Do you want to share anything?
Oh
on them?
yes, I'm gonna show.
John's going to
got a
show.
bottle in the office.
He's got a bottle there he wants to
While
talk
he's
about.
doing that,
Yeah.
Barry's going to send the old triangle for us.
No, that's the last thing we
no,
do.
You're on the air,
That's
man.
what gets us home.
Bully
That's the
him,
last
folks.
thing.
Bully him into it quick before he changes his mind.
So do I join your? Do I meet your key or you meet mine?
I'm not singing it all. It's your
Oh.
turn. Oh, off the hook.
Okay, John, save me.
Saved by
Thank you.
John.
Right. Okay. The last 4 or 5 weeks has been the busiest, at least in terms of supplier relationships and relationships. Because we're an independent business, we deal with no wholesalers and we deal directly with every brand. So you could pick a bottle off the shelf and we'll say, oh, there's X from this brand and Y from this brand. But most recently, one of the first places we had a great relationship and we've done some single casks with them is Clonakilty Distillery. They have been great for us, and I hope we were great for them, especially when we got one of their first single casks out a number of years ago. We still have, myself and Robert still have our own bottles for that release, but I want to just give them a mention because the Galley Head that was recently launched, which is a single malt at a very good price point. We're not listing it yet at IrishMalts, but we will be soon. We should have gotten it up a little bit sooner, and for that I kind of apologize to Caroline and to Adam and Clonakilty when they're watching this. It just got so busy here that we just didn't have time to process enough purchase orders to keep buying whiskey in. What's very interesting though, and I think we'll have some of this as well in the near future, it's a special limited edition. There's 950 bottles in it. It's going to be released in the Irish market, and the cask finish is Imperial Stout and Winter Star Spiced Pale Ale casks. Now, story on that one, it was going to be exclusively Imperial Stout, and the guys at O'Hara's Brewery, you can't see it, Barry might show it in a second, right? The guys in O'Hara's Brewery accidentally sent in to the Master Distiller down in Clon, tasted it and said, this doesn't taste like an Imperial Stout finished whiskey. And when they looked into it, the guys in O'Hara's accidentally gave in a cask of Winter Star Spiced Pale Ale, which obviously has a unique taste. So they married them, and it's really fitting for Christmas with the Winter Star Spice. I mean, I haven't actually had a chance to taste it. It's the only bottle that we got, but we will have it. We will have it in the next number of weeks. Again, local Cork distillery. How many do we have now, Barry? Blacks, Clonakilty, West Cork,
4.
Middleton, 4. So
Clonakilty, West Cork,
Middleton,
Middleton, yeah, 4.
and we'd have connections in all 4 of them, which is fantastic. So that was a little bit of a story for Clonakilty, because I really wanted to get that Galley Head listed in time for the launch, and it's only on the market like for maybe 2 weeks, but we will eventually get it. It's a bit of a departure from their labels. It's quite different, but it's coming in at a much better price point. I think it's coming in at like sub €40. So yeah,
Good man.
that's about everything, Barry.
Irish Malts, you've hosted us well.
No problem. I hope you'll be back.
We will. You just leave the door open and leave the code to the gate, and we'll be back. All right. All right. So listen, it is 2:20 in the morning, and
And if you're to sing the old triangle,
I don't know. You're the singer. You're the how quick can be with your voice?
go for it, man.
But saying that, there, shall we give it a shot? We'll give it a shot. We'll all join in, will we? Now, let me get my.
Do re mi fa lo so.
Hungry feeling came o'er me stealing, and the mice were squealing in my prison cell, and the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. To begin the morning, the screw was bawling, get up, you bowsy, and clean up your cell. And the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. I wish to Jesus they'd raise my wages from 13 shillings up to £2.10. And the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal.
Now the lag lay sleeping,
Humpy Gussie was weeping
as I lay there weeping
for my girl Sal. And the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. Up in the female prison,
Hey.
there are 75 women.
More than that.
'Tis among those women I wish I did dwell. Very controversial. And the old triangle went jingle, jolly jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. And the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. All along the banks of the Royal Canal. Come on, Roy. Hey.
Well, I'm Barry.
You.
You got away with murder. You're
Yeah, John ran away there.
And your mother is watching you to sing a
What
song.
are you going to sing, John?
No, I'm not. My mother's a good singer. Not from me.
Now, we couldn't have sang that if we'd
Teach you
been
the song.
drinking whiskey all night.
No way.
Brilliant. That was great stuff altogether.
Good crack. Enjoy it.
Geez, some crack altogether. Look,
Maybe we're lucky there was no alcohol involved with us.
maybe
lads.
we are
all
lucky,
right.
like maybe we are. So listen, we've had an unbelievable night. There was one request that came in earlier from Louise, and I don't know, like it feels like the parting glass would send us out on a beautiful note. What do you think?
Okay, that's
We are now after having about 20 more songs than Roy ever promised today, but there's no stopping us asking him. Like,
that's all right. It'll all be in the invoice, lads.
hey, John, get the checkbook there. Right, let me put up Roy's there again. We're going to give you the screen for this one.
It's
now. This is
100 quid a
beautiful
syllable.
one. We have to do a GoFundMe.
Great song. Goes back to the 16th century. There was a guy on death row, and in one of his final letter, it had that stanza that says, "For all I've done for want of wit to memory now, I can't recall. Things like that. And then sometime later, century or two, there was another piece. So I don't know if the song was written by anyone in particular, but it seems to have kind of come together. But it's certainly a favourite, isn't it? Thanks for having me in, guys. It's been a fun.
Thanks, Roy.
Cheers, John. Woo. I enjoyed the fun, yeah.
Give you whiskey next time.
Yeah. The next time there's no car involved.
That's it.
At all. Of all the money here I had, I spend it in good company, and all the harm here I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill with me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. If I had money enough to spend and leisure time to sit a while, there is a maiden in this town who sorely has my heart beguiled. Her lovely face and ruby lips, my own she has my heart enthralled. So fill with me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Of all the comrades here I had, they're sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts here I had, they'd wish me one more night to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be with you.
Yes.
Very nice.
Come on, Roy.
Yes,
Yeah.
There's John.
Brilliant.
Loads of fun.
Folks, what a night. What a great lock-in. We were absolutely privileged to have Roy Buckley here tonight singing for us.
Here. Folks, if you're on Spotify and YouTube, do hook up with me there. It would be great.
Search for Roy Buckley
Some of
music.
I have a couple of new releases out in the last year or so. It'd be great if you could have a look at them anyway. Put them in your playlists or something.
That's
would be
it.
great.
And you'll come back to us again.
I'd love to, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
We'll find ways
Maybe
to
next
collaborate.
time some of you guys might shout in some requests as well.
Yeah.
Maybe they can do some of your favourite Irish songs or something like that.
Brilliant. Listen, folks, thanks everyone. Thanks to John and Irish Malts for hosting us tonight.
And thanks for coming, Barry.
Thanks for saving on the heating costs. And
What he thinks.
Do you like John's Christmas hat? I think it's brilliant.
Just before people think we're total cheapskates, we do have heating in the offices.
there is heating.
It's much harder to heat an actual.
Look at the size of the heater for a warehouse. Look, that's a warehouse heater right there. Well, we had a great night here, and it was great to talk to Kieran. Kieran Folliard in Minnesota about Red Locks and Noel Sweeney. And it was great to talk to Louise McGuane over there in New Jersey at the moment about JJ Corrie. Cyber Monday coming up, 200 bottles of this beauty, 200 bottles, 20-year-old single malt available. Friday, Dahi O'Connell's 19-year-old single malt available, 19 and 20-year-old single malt on the space of 1 week in Irish Whiskey, which is incredible. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in the Irish Whiskey Fans of America Facebook group. We're now up to almost 9,100 of you in that group, which is amazing.
Brilliant.
And looking forward to seeing you all in there. So thank you.
Congrats,
Thank you.
Barry. It's your first lock-in out in the boat.
First lock-in. I never will do this again. It's been so cold. I'm going back to my living room and I'll be happier there. You can all feck off. And I've got heaters at home. So no, this is brilliant. Great to be out. We'll do more of these. We'll try and do them around Ireland too over the next few months, as well as I'm back and forth. I'm going back to Ohio next week for the opening of a very rare 46-year-old bottle of whiskey, a $43,000 bottle of whiskey will be opening in Ohio for charity. And I'm looking forward to seeing so many of you up there for that. We're going to have a great session up in Ohio near Cleveland on December 6th and 7th. So that'll be our pre-Christmas treat, sampling and sniffing and nosing and pouring that whiskey. So for those of you who are not joining us, we'll be videoing lots of aspects of that trip and creating a little video profile or video kind of montage of it as well, so that you won't all miss out. So that's it. We'll have another lock-in before Christmas. This is not the last one, even though John's wearing the Christmas hat tonight. There'll be more Christmas lock-ins coming, and we'll talk to you all soon, folks. So sláinte. Thanks a million.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everybody. Good night.
Cheers.
Sleep well.
Sláinte.
Night, night.
I'm going to raid the shelves now.
Good night.